There once was a man named Gold Roger who was king of the pirates. He had fame, power, and wealth beyond your wildest dreams. Before they hung him from the gallows, these were the final words he said.
Our perspective is yours for the taking, but you'll have to join us first. We left everything we debated at the Yonkō Table.
Ever since, pirates from all over the world set sail for the Grand Line, searching for the Yonkō Table, the table that will make their dreams come true. Yo, everyone. That's the voice of your Yonkō host, DrJaceAttorney, and the Yonkō Table had set sail again for part 4 of our One Piece Chronicles Water 7 extravaganza. We've been trying, folks. We've been trying to get through Water 7, but there's just so much jam-packed into this saga. There's a lot going on, a lot of dynamics, a lot of relationships, a lot of battles. We thought we could get to the climactic battle of Luffy versus Lucci last week, but we wanted to do that justice. We could not just rush through it as we covered the rest of the CP9 fight. So kicking us off for this week, we're going to be starting off with Luffy versus Lucci, but with me as always to deep dive One Piece, GrandMasterHoop, fellow Yonkō. Are you here for Luffy versus Lucci, or are you team mid on this fight?
Again, you too loosely use the word mid. You have no
definition of this.
Well, why do you lead with mid? What are you trying to imply here?
I just want to know your thoughts.
Why you set the bar like that?
Why are you getting so mad?
Why set the parameter?
I'm just
not mad.
A simple question.
But you're trying to set the parameters. You're trying to instigate something.
Did you?
There's more to this final bit than just Lucci versus Luffy. Is it a great fight? Yes. It is
so it's not mid. It's not mid.
But again, why not just ask good or bad? Like, I feel you're trying to say something.
I am not.
What are you really trying to say?
I love this fight. I think it's fantastic. I think it's one of the best fights in One Piece.
I can't tell.
I am being wholeheartedly serious.
You should have assumed that everybody loves this fight as much as you.
Apparently not. I'm
just saying you should go in like that.
I've been told in previous parts this is not the best arc in One Piece, but that's neither here nor there. But we also have fellow Supernovas and Admirals here to deep dive this episode of One Piece with us today. And let's get into it. Luffy versus Lucci. How does this build up? Where do we start with this? Because we didn't even really touch Luffy versus Lucci, right? In last week's pod, they didn't even really meet yet.
Nope.
Right? Okay. So what is it? Luffy is being led by Chimney, right? And the bunny?
And Gonbei. Chimney and Gonbei.
Right.
Leading the way.
Down the secret passageway. Because Luffy previously tried sailing off to the gates of justice on his own, and the whirlpools said no in the water. They told him, go back, try again.
Crucial moment here. These whirlpools are rough. That's all I'm going to say.
Yes.
Rough whirlpools.
And it only happens when the doors are opening?
Closed. When they're closed, the whirlpools are rough. When the door is open, they calm down.
Okay. I think it is. Well, oh man, I'm trying to remember now. Is it when it's always closed?
Don't hang on it.
We got to deep dive this far.
There's
whirlpools. You're right. Let's just, doors closed, whirlpools are rough. Eventually they're going to open and they'll calm down. But let's,
So, Luffy being led by Chimney and Gonbei down the secret passageway to where hopefully Robin and Spandam is. Luffy gets to a door can't break open, so we get a little tease. Oda does like a little tease of what we might see later. And do we hear him say Gear 3, or are we just he says Gear 3?
No, he says it.
He says it. Okay,
but we don't see it.
All he does is the thumb thing again, and then you just see the reactions of
Chimney and Gonbei.
Whatever, the kid and the cat.
Do you see the door destroyed or something?
You see the door
destroyed.
And it's like, he's got something cooking.
He's got it.
The best part is then after we see little mini baby.
Ooh, yes,
after
that is
effect.
correct.
You're right.
That is
That's
correct.
right.
So I'm really curious, like, what the fandom was like at this time. Like, were they just thinking of this as like a gag? Like, was Oda being serious with whatever Gear 3 was? Again, this was like in 2006, I think, 2006, 2005. I wish I was in the shoes of some of the readers back then when this was going on weekly, because I want to know what the discussions were. But I think that's like the end of the chapter, because then it cuts away. You know, the gag was Luffy was small, but they managed to get past the door. And then Luffy meets our big boy. He meets our big boy, Lucci.
Yeah, because as that was happening, Spandam's running with Robin. He probably hears the big noises, and he's like, "Yo, Lucci, go handle that."
No, that's
so
exactly
Lucci's-
what happened. He heard
And
it.
Lucci's like, "Yeah," like Lucci's just looking.
He's
to kill.
excited. He wants to do this.
Well, actually, there's Nino. Are you gonna say it? There's a really funny part right here with Spandam.
Yeah, that, what do you call it? Rob Lucci is just like, he's kind of smiling, like knowing that he has this sort of energy, and then he's like, "You didn't give me the order to go and fight Luffy," and then Spandam's just already like 20 yards or 200 yards away, running at full speed.
Well, no. What happens is Spandam goes, "What's that noise?" And he's like, "It's probably that little girl and her rabbit that led the Straw Hats down here." He's like, "What? You knew the whole time?" He's like, "You didn't give me the order to take care of them." And funny. I don't know. I took it as what Lucci is a man by the books, and he's itching to fight. He's a he's He wants to fight. He wants to
kill.
Yes, he's ferocious.
He wants to exact his what is it again? Dark justice, right? It is dark justice. Okay.
So he has a dark justice like thing going on.
I think he does. I don't know if he coins it or if it's just assumed, because he does some messed up things. He does say it.
If he says it, that's really interesting, because I feel like that's the only time we see people that aren't an admiral talk about a specific kind of justice. Like,
oh, that is true. Right.
Like only the admirals are given like very specific justice, as we saw with Sakazuki was with his absolute justice.
Right.
True.
We have lazy justice with Aokiji Kuzan. So yeah, like Lucci is gunning for this. He wants this fight to happen. And us as fans, we kind of want that too. We want to see this happen, because for those of you that don't remember, the last time these two traded blows, what was it? It was like one finger pistol through the stomach back at Iceberg's mansion. And that was it. Dead. Okay. And Luffy gets sent flying. So from then on, you're thinking like, yeah, this guy is just way out of Luffy's league. There's no way. But once I feel like the turning point is once you saw Luffy versus Blueno. You know, you saw Luffy just lay waste to Blueno with this brand new ability, Gear 2. I mean, at that point, the scales are tipped in Luffy's favor. So now you're thinking, okay, there's probably a chance Luffy can come in and whoop Lucci's ass. So
because Luffy does the thing, Luffy gets ready to do something else, another thing, you know, which we come to realize is Gear 3 against Blueno, but then Blueno goes down. So it's like Luffy still has something in his pocket ready for Lucci. So
there's an ace.
Yeah.
So fight. I think it just starts, right? They just start wailing on each other a little bit. But the cool thing about this battle, as it begins, you notice that Luffy's actually keeping up with Lucci. And at that point, it's like, okay, he's not even really in Gear 2nd right now.
He's not in Gear 2nd at all. And Lucci is not transformed.
He's not transformed. It's one of those things where it's like, you know, Lucci in his base form, at least before Iceberg's Mansion, I would even think he could have probably taken on Luffy just as that alone. Because we didn't, you know, Luffy's never fought someone this powerful before. But, you know, they're kind of just starting off in their base form, you know, at like typical DBZ logic, right? They never just go in guns blazing in the beginning. They all start off baseline power levels, trade off a few blows, get the warm up in, get the blood flowing, and then we progress later on. Did you guys like this portion of the fight when they were just punching each other into like boxes and crates inside the room they were in?
I mean, it's fine. Again, it's the kind of, like you said, the DBZ kind of aspect of it all. Let me not go all out yet. Let me kind of test my enemy's strength, and let's see how long I can go before I need to level up.
Yeah, so nobody wins or loses in these moments. It's just like they're kind of testing each other. They're warming up. They're reserving their final kind of like forms and things along those lines. But yeah, as like a starting point, it's been pretty entertaining. I think like, and if you zoom out and scale back a little, one, I think Oda's done a great job of building Lucci up as like kind of this just like supreme badass, super cool. And to be honest, we haven't had like one of these big Luffy fights maybe since Crocodile, like Inaru.
Well, we've said
wasn't
this.
Quite that, you know what I mean? It was like built up, but it was like the end result was kind of, I think as Kame Chris would say, like a bit of a gag. It's a great gag, but it wasn't
Wow.
Luffy versus Crocodile. It wasn't Luffy versus Arlong.
Well, and Naru is it's the biggest fight since Crocodile. And Naru was really a cakewalk for Luffy. It was and Naru made their fight inconvenient for Luffy at times, but it was never like Luffy couldn't land a killing or fatal blow. So
and that was just because of how they made like this is a topic I wanted to talk about because Oda likes to stretch things out like just a little bit to like really wring out the fine juices of his thoughts. Because once Luffy enters the battle on Skypiea, it's over. But it's interesting that you get to him now. Like there's not many obstacles in Luffy's way of getting to rob Lucci and starting this fight. The only obstacle that I can see is Oda's decision on chapter lengths. Oda went 6 or 7 chapters from when Rob Lucci was waiting for Luffy all the way to on chapter 408, where they finally see face to face on the last page where Rob Lucci says welcome, and then you see the pigeon guy, and it's just like, imagine reading this week to week. This would be torturous because you're like, oh my god, this is gonna be great, and then you just see like, I mean, the other stuff you see with CP9 and like all the other Straw Hats are really good and really interesting, but if you're really want to see like, look, at least start the fight, you get 7 chapters or 6 chapters until you see Luffy, and not even them fighting, just them going face to face. And I think that's Oda being Oda with trying to stretch out his chapter lengths, really trying to push for the 2,000 chapter mark. You know what I mean?
No, yeah. Oh, go ahead, Kame Chris.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think that he does that when it's like let's say like a final fight type of thing. Like he's gonna drag it out. And if I think we could tell from like what he prefers as his like favorite moments, he kind of drags them out as long as he can possible. So I think it's just kind of showing to like his style of like how he wanted the storytelling of One Piece to go when it came to fighting scenes. It's just that typical setup I guess he was just trying to create. And then it feels like that in the anime too, when he's like, the whole setup, I guess it doesn't feel as long like it would in the manga, but in the anime it still did feel a little more dragged out up until that fight. But I think it kind of, I feel like in the anime it kind of happens at a good pace though. It didn't feel elongated.
Yeah, at least to me it's like, he meets Rob Lucci, but like the rest of the gang is kind of lining up, squaring up against their people. And you just know, I feel like by now that, Luffy's not beating Lucci, and you're not even gonna get the best of the fight until Zoro's taken down his guy, until Sanji's taken down their person, and like the trickle down effect of like, the
it's
crew
the pyramid,
going against
the pyramid.
Yeah. And worst of all, the pyramid is crumbling down slowly because literally the very next chapter where they just look face to face, Oda only gives us one panel of them just looking at each other menacingly. They're being the, what do you call it? That guy from SpongeBob. They're just looking at each other like
Patrick,
like that. No, he's just standing there. Maniac.
Patrick.
They're looking.
They're looking for the maniac.
Yeah, they're looking at each other like two town maniacs. And then the very next page, there's the Buster Call comes in, and it's like everything's exploding, and we still haven't landed. And Luffy hasn't landed one punch on Rob Lucci.
And you see, I was gonna mention that, building off of Kame Chris's point. I feel like when you get to this moment where it is the final fight of the arc, like Oda built up. I feel like in every arc, when it gets to this point, there's so much chaos in the background already spilling over. Because by this point, like Nino mentioned, the Buster Call fandom is such an idiot. We mentioned it last week, but he was what he thought when he was relaying his message to the rest of his men by using the regular transponder snail. He was actually using the Buster Call transponder snail. And we mentioned it where it's really dumb that if you press it by accident, there's no way to retract it. But
I was just about to say that. I was like, if there's going to be no way for them to just say like, wait, like call it off. Like no, like 3
what if I
mark.
tripped?
Let me tell you something.
Like, yeah, like what? Why isn't there like a radio piece on there to be like, oh wait, no, false alarm. Don't send the 10 warships and the 5 vice admirals to bombard the island. Don't do that.
I guess if we wouldn't have a great story though of the chaos in the background, like that, it's the perfect setup.
It's
for this
necessary.
Fight. Like it's such a dramatic peak. Like when this happens, it's like, all right, battlefield set, go.
It really
100%.
is.
I like that because it's like, even though this fight goes on for a pretty long time, at least in the manga, maybe like anywhere between 2 books to 2.5. It's like the content around it, like what's happening around this fight with like, the crew versus their counterparts in the CP9, the Buster Call, kind of like Robin's journey. I mean, we're going to get to like what's happening with Usopp and Sogeking. What's happening around it, I still think is so entertaining that it's like I'm almost not even mad that this like fight is like long. I think Oda does a great job with, honestly, like everything going forward. He's on his A game.
Oh, Grandmaster, were you gonna say something?
Yeah, Grandmaster, it looked like you were just gonna say something.
I just don't think it's long. I think it's over the course of what is going on. It's not actually long. The fight has 3 significant portions, and it's just stretched out as far as how it's presented. However, it's not necessarily long. You can actually cover the fight pretty well, and cover its its extremes and its highs and its lows.
I think it's because you watched the anime too, Grandmaster.
Yes. That's why it definitely like that. Plays a part for sure.
Yeah, it doesn't feel long at all.
That's fair. So at this point, right, so because I'm trying to get a feel for like what exactly is happening at the same time as this fight is going on. Is Frankie has the keys already?
No.
Not yet.
No, but Frankie is the first one to catch up and go after Robin.
Okay. Well, because he meets Luffy and Lucci first. Right?
Frankie does run into their fight.
Yeah.
And Lucci is not going to let Frankie pass. And Frankie's like, all right, cool, then I'll just help. And Luffy's like, no, you go help Robin. I got this. And I think there's a point where Frankie tries to run past Lucci, and Lucci's like, okay, I'm going to go like, kick the shit out of him, or Tempest kicked him or something. And Luffy rocks him. And that's how he knows, okay, so it's gonna be like that.
He's in control of the fight. I like that moment because it's something where I feel like Water 7 Luffy could not have done that, and he's loving Luffy, He's saying, no, my man, you're gonna focus on me.
Well, it's Luffy saying, you have to acknowledge me. There ain't it ain't no 1-on-2. Like,
he does a jet bazooka.
Oh, there you
really
go, jet bazooka. So he goes gear here. Now he's in gear.
Right. Oh, wait. So is this the initial gear when he starts it? Gear 2 by punching Lucci to stop him from attacking Frankie?
Yeah, it looks like
okay.
It looks like you know, Frankie's there. He gets hit. And I think he threatens him with his life. I think Lucci's like, yo, you're gonna die. And then Luffy appears with the smoke. You know, it's not like, yo, gear 2, you know, I'm gear 2 now. It's kind of more of just like, next scene, Luffy smoking red, apparently, and then like smacks him. So
you're still flabbergasted that he appeared red.
I didn't know. Had no idea.
I don't blame
red is it's actually more of a pink than it is
the
red.
fact that he has a color change. The color changes because, like, I'm looking at the volume 44 cover. He does not have a color change whatsoever. He just has steam being emitted from him.
Yeah, gear 2 was always just like, oh, that's the gear where Luffy's a little faster to me. I didn't realize there was a color change. I don't even know if I realized there was smoke.
So, and
wait, what?
What? I mean,
There's no way.
To be fair, the in the manga, like, even as we keep going further and further into the manga in like maybe future transformations, the smoke is very you're like, how did that get there? Is that even smoke? But the anime makes it a little bit more clear. But it's just so wild that before even he goes gear 2 with Frankie, we have like this really important scene with Usopp, where Sanji tells him like, hey, like, people are important. Like, all this is going on. Like, all the fights are still happening, are still wrapping up, and you only get little tidbits of the first part of the fight until Frankie gets there, which is just insane. Like, again, you're just seeing Luffy like getting his ass kicked until finally Frankie comes bursting through the door.
And then from there, that's when he starts making his way to Robin with his one key. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. I do like once Luffy gets into gear 2 with Lucci, because up until this point, you know, we saw gear 2 with Bluno, but as you know, as fans watching it, we weren't really too sure what the hell was going on. Like what are the logistics of gear 2? How does this work? Where did Luffy? How is this happening? I don't understand. Lucci, being an observant, individual, I feel like he's kind of speaking on behalf of like the readers to like really assess like how the hell is Luffy doing this? What is the logistics with Luffy all of a sudden emitting steam? And what's that leg pump thing that he's doing when he turns into gear 2? Because I think at least initially starting off, whenever he does gear 2, he has to do the leg pump, right?
It always pumps from his legs. Yes.
Right. Obviously later on, he doesn't have to do the leg pump. He can kind of just bring it out whenever he wants.
I think he technically always just does the leg pump. They just kind of just don't focus on it anymore. You know, it's gear 2, so they kind of skip because you know the leg pump. It's visually cool to look at. You know, you literally see him pump the blood faster.
Yeah, they do a bit of an info dump where I think Rob Lucci points out what's happening. He says, like, because his body's made of rubber and all his innards are made of rubber, he's able to pump stuff up. I'm not saying I entirely got it, but I'm like, you know, why does Goku's hair turn yellow? That's because, you know, the creator says it does. So I mean, like, I think it's a cool visual. I think Luffy's attacks when he's in gear 2 just seem cool. So I accept it. Accept it for it.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say this. Yes, it is a little info dump on Lucci's part. However, again, I'm going to take it back to this quote. The gum fruit is only limited by the user's imagination. And I said this earlier, Luffy is a
Wow.
genius,
Lame.
and he's becoming more adept at using his devil fruit in more creative ways. This was an extremely creative way. And
So you admit he's a genius.
At fighting, we said this
Yes.
last time. We
A
said
battle
you
this
just
last
said
genius,
genius. You need to add the qualifier. You can't just be like he's a genius because he's like
he's a
a
he has
battle genius.
prowess.
A battle
Can
genius.
he be an idiot and a genius?
You can excel at
All right.
one and
Okay.
not excel at others.
And not recognize your crewmate because they're wearing a mask.
Yes. Listen,
He does.
okay,
He does
listen,
acknowledge
let
it.
me-
There's
let
a
me-
scene. We're gonna
hold
get
up.
to it. We're gonna
I
get to it.
understand. When y'all were talking about it last week, I had no idea there was a conversation in the Discord. So I was
Check out our Discord, by the way, if you want to know what that conversation was about.
so I actually I didn't
Nice
even read
plug.
up on it. So I don't even really know still what the argument is. So
where literally there's a scene once this fight is over, like you cannot ignore it. And,
I
and
know
it'll-
what you're talking about, but I don't know who's on whose side.
We'll,
or whatever.
that's what I'm saying. When we get there and address it, you'll know who's waving what flag on
Okay.
this side.
And you know what's funny that going back to this fight, Rob Lucci's already like partially transformed.
Yes.
I think he transformed when
When Frankie
shows
got
up.
there.
He's like,
Yes.
all right, I'll step up a little, you know.
So
He's like 2v1.
does he do, because I think in this fight he reveals that there's like kind of like a midway transformation that he can do. So like there's his full bulky towering leopard form, but then there's like a smaller
No.
version of
So I talked about this last week with Fukuro. Fukuro it's one of the 6 powers, and he like makes himself like almost paperweight and flat like.
Okay.
Lucci can change his size. That's one of the 6 powers.
So this is still like his
It's not a
hybrid
different
form.
Yeah, he's still in hybrid form, but he can really bulk himself out.
That's crazy.
Or he can make
Wait,
himself
really?
smaller.
It's not like just a variation of like the zone form that he's
Zones
turning
have-
into?
Zones have 3 forms: your
Yeah,
base,
only 3.
the animal, and the hybrid.
So this
Yeah.
version, this skinny version, is just a small version of his
This is him
hybrid
using.
form.
That's it. This is him using his 6 powers.
Gotcha.
Interesting.
I don't think I realized that.
Yes, that is.
That's-
Go back.
No, because I questioned it too. And then when I watched the Frankie Fukuro fight, it made perfect sense.
Yeah,
But
no, that
it's-
makes sense.
It's so crazy that we haven't seen like Rob Lucci or Kaku to this day become their full animals.
No, we
No,
see
we saw
Lucci.
Kaku.
We see Lucci too. He did
You see
well,
Lucci? He,
in
like,
this fight he does it. He does he does
bites
his
him.
he bites him. He bites Luffy. He turns into
He's
his
like a full leopard.
little leopard form, meow, and he bites
cool.
Luffy. But it was, I mean, I don't know if the anime did more with that. It was just like one bite in the manga, and then that was
Yeah, it was very quick. It was cool.
Yeah. It was
like,
a bite and it was
noticeable.
over.
yeah.
But
Throw
back to something Nino was bringing up earlier about that talk with Usopp and Sanji, because I think it's crucial to what happens next. We talked about this in length, or at least I did in last week's, where I did HooperTV Reads. You know, so Usopp is told, like, hey, you don't have to fight Jabra. You know, you need to do kind of like your role. You need to do whatever you need to do to kind of like help Robin. Like, that's why you're here. We save Robin if everybody does their part. And so what happens next is that, you know, Frankie goes by Lucci. He's like running after Robin. And while that's happening, Robin's like on the bridge. I think the gates are opening, you know?
Yes. She's
Right.
crying, she's biting,
She's actually
she's
trying to
fighting
stop
Oh,
from leaving.
Listen, hold up. We have been not doing this justice at all. We always say Robin's with Spandam. They're walking. No, Spandam is, again, you want to talk about, you know, him being one of the worst. Spandam is belittling Robin the whole time. He's berating Robin the whole time.
Yep.
He's, you know, hitting her on the head, punching her on the head, calling her stupid woman.
Get her, Frankfried.
Yeah, he's like, and he's dragging her, and he's like making mincemeat of what is actually going to happen.
Doesn't
He's
he
like,
rip
you
her
know,
hair out?
Yes,
Yeah,
he
he's
does
pulling
at
her
one
by the
point.
hair,
Yes.
like, God, he
Goodness.
sucks.
He's
Yes, he
yeah.
does.
He sucks.
Just wanted to throw that in there.
On top
No, that's good.
of freaking out because he accidentally ordered a Buster Call, and then he's making it everyone else's mistake. So he's just absolutely terrible. Like,
Oh
he can't,
yeah.
he's like, how could this happen? Who let this happen? And like all his troops are like, but director, and he's like, shut up, I don't care. That's his energy going into this.
It's definitely the last bit of control that he has in the situation, because right now, like he was saying, you know, the Straw Hats are not even going to make it to the Tower of Law. What happens? They all made it to the Tower of Law.
Yeah.
CP9's going down one by one. Rob Lucci's fighting Luffy. Buster Call initiated. I mean, Spandam's losing his mind. So,
but he's still going after Robin.
And we get the reveal that Spandime was his father.
Yeah.
And he's the one who ordered the Buster Call.
Not only that, Spandam uses this as like, you know, to hurt Robin. Like he's using everything he can to hurt this woman. He brings up O'Hara. He brings up that his father was the one who did it. And, you know, it's really like crushing Robin. Robin's like crying. Robin's like, she's like fighting.
Oh my gosh, she does start crying. Yeah. Oh my God,
it's
that was
really rough.
hard.
And you at least know Frankie's coming, right?
Yeah.
And then
get this scene.
Yes.
We're at the same place.
Beautiful.
Nino. So Frankie's coming, and then an explosion happens, and that's when Spandam lets Robin know, like, hey, we mimed the stairwell. Your friends were never coming. It's now blown up. I think water might be leaking into it too. So it's like they can't even go that way.
In.
You know, they can't even go that way. There's pretty much like Spandam telling Robin, there's absolutely zero hope. It's over for you. The door's opening. He starts dragging her, I think by the hair. Gets ready to pull her through the gate. And what happens? Our favorite.
What's doing?
Well, he gets exploded.
Explosion happens on Spandam. Like explosion happens. You're like wondering where it came from, right?
On his face.
Yes, I'm wondering
you don't see it.
Who did it? What was it? Because there's no one there on the bridge.
Then I think
no. There's other people on the bridge.
Well, I mean, like from the other side, coming from where he came from. There's no one else.
The Navy members start coming, and then more explosions start happening, right?
Yes, they all get hit numerous times.
And it's like, yo, what's going down? Like, what's happening? Like, Robin's like confused, like kind of looking around. And then on the top of the Tower of Law, you see this silhouette, and it's none other than, does Robin say long nose?
Yes, it's
Mr. Long.
It's
Mr.
long nose.
Oh my God.
He points to the sky. Lovely. I love it.
The face on Robin is just like this, like, I don't know how to describe it. It's like tears. It's kind of like, she knows, she's like almost overwhelmed with emotion, almost overwhelmed with happiness, because she's like, they did come, they do got me. And it's like Usopp doing exactly what Sanji said he needed to do.
Usopp doing that marksman thing.
Yeah. Say it again, GrandMasterHoop.
Usopp doing that marksman thing.
He's doing his marksman thing, you know? He's like, Frankie was almost there, runs into a mine. Couldn't get there. No, everybody else is on the Tower of Law. Luffy's being held up by Lucci. No one else could have done this. You know what I mean? Like, Robin's being taken away and being shipped off to, you know, the world government or something, and we would have never saw her again unless Usopp comes through in this exact moment.
He's the only one that could have closed the distance.
And
he is the distance fighter.
Yeah. And you know, it really brings into it. This is such a great moment because it brings that moment with Robin on the train almost full circle, where it's like he says, believe in Luffy. But then this whole arc, after that point, this whole arc is really about Usopp needing to believe in himself. And I think that's the.
I think this is like the entire saga. No, like
yeah,
but
yes.
I think it's
Yes.
Robin too. It's like you can believe in this crew, and
Mm-hmm.
they will come through. As in, versus you won't be the cause of their death necessarily. They can hold their own, and if they're fighting for something, they can come out on top.
I think we talked about this like weeks ago. You know, where it was like weeks ago now. Same saga.
Yes.
You know, Usopp felt so bad that he lost the money to the Frankie family. He felt so bad that he didn't have like the strength to kind of like go and take it back on his own. He felt so bad that like, you know, the rest of the crew did it, you know, took revenge without him. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and then like when they started replacing the merry-go, like we kind of like circled back to Usopp feeling like, if that's replaceable, I'm replaceable. And I think in this moment, I think it just really like highlights, like, you're not replaceable. Nobody else could have done this. Sanji knew it from the jump. I mean, as a huge Usopp fan, like he's always been like crucial to the crew. And it's just so cool to kind of have him realize it in such an epic, monumental, significant moment that is like so crucial to kind of like this story.
And
I think this moment,
oh no, go
I
ahead.
was just gonna wrap up and say that this moment, I don't know, top 10 for me all time. It's great.
No, it is, because it's one of the few moments you get with Usopp where he does something substantial for the crew, at the same time being recognized by people outside of his crew as how what he just did was huge. Because usually whenever Zoro does something, you get the reactions from like the Navy or whoever they're fighting, like, oh my God, he just sliced a building in half. Oh, wow. You never really got that with Usopp. You have the Navy reacting to what is happening. And they're saying, what the hell? Where are these shots coming from? And they're saying it must be from the Tower of Law. But then they can't even wrap their heads around it either, because they're like, that's impossible. You would need to be some
shoot so far.
Well, they also
sniper. Like, it's insane.
They call out the fact that he's using a slingshot too.
Mm-hmm. Do they?
I'm pretty sure. I thought so. But also too, it's a very nice moment. Sanji, I don't know if this is in the manga, but Sanji says, "That's our sniper."
Yes,
he does.
Yes, he does. He does say that.
That's the very next panel. Yeah.
Right, because Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji, they're right below the Tower of Law. Right, like they look up and see Usopp.
Yes, yeah, they're
top.
right there. Right.
And Oda still makes the joke where Zoro's looking. He's like, does he have to sing?
So yes, he's singing. He's singing to himself. Oh man, I love this moment. Chills. I love it.
And you know, it's what do you call it? I think this is probably, if we look at like One Piece in like sections, and this is just a really good moment to like deep dive and like really do a close reading on, because the only other time that people have, I think, commented on Usopp that's memorable about his shooting skills, like someone outside of the crew, is Loketown.
Don't.
When he does
filler.
Wait, really?
The daddy. No, the daddy. Are you talking about the daddy?
Yes,
dude?
the daddy. Yeah.
That's filler.
Cool.
I don't know.
In the anime,
I have no idea.
There's this Usopp runs in. Everybody goes on their own adventure. Usopp runs into this dude who has a grudge against Yasopp.
Yeah, that's filler. That's filler.
Yeah.
But you want to know something? It works because when you look at it in the anime, at least, it's building on everything that came before. I think that's one of the times that the anime probably surpasses the manga because of the connection that it makes to this moment. You know what I mean?
It's not like a fillerous filler. It is a kind of expand the mythos a little bit filler.
Exactly.
This dude recognized Usopp as Yasopp's son. He says, "Prove it." And they have a shooting contest, and Usopp wins miraculously.
And he makes the same commentary as the guards here, that they say, "Oh, he's using a slingshot. How can he do it from so far? How can he?" You know what I mean? So it's just
right,
and we have not gotten an Usopp moment like this, like to this level. I would argue, we're still waiting for it.
I was going to say that.
What? No, he got another one. He got another one.
No, Usopp does not.
Wait,
Usopp does not get a serious moment
like this.
Yes, he does.
He gets one.
And Dressrosa?
That
is not a serious moment.
He gets a huge. Gag. No, it's a really big moment.
It is a pretty big moment.
It confirms something that he clearly has that we didn't know if he had it or not. So when that moment,
it's played for laughs.
Okay, but it's still serious because it confirms, like, wait, so he has.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. What?
Yeah, it's for
laughs. See, what you're mistaken. You should be saying what should have been a serious moment is what you should be saying.
I still take it as it was a gag with a backdrop of wow, he has this. That means he's OP. We'll get into it once we get into the arc. That this is way far ahead.
The only problem with that moment is that it's in Dressrosa. So,
listen, we got a lot to say about Dressrosa.
Oh boy, let's call it now. I'm gonna go 4 weeks. Dressrosa.
It's don't remind me.
We need 3 weeks just for the birdcage itself.
Goodness,
but the birdcage. Let's summarize the birdcage.
Coming back to this. We appreciate the Usopp moment. I think we can all agree on that. He's getting a moment right now, and this is peak Usopp so far.
Incredible.
This is great and fantastic.
And just to wrap, I'm not gonna go back to what I was just talking
Don't
about.
Go to Dressrosa.
No. But this is kind of. It's kind of an emblem of everything that the arc is kind of teaching everyone. Like you had that the crew all has their purpose and everyone is important to succeeding. I think this is more important than any other arc because you can argue in Skypiea if Luffy just got to NL maybe like a day earlier, Skypiea would be a very short. Yeah,
it's very true.
But what's interesting though, and I know we're getting bogged down in non-stuff.
You're getting GrandMasterHoop.
As I think about it, this is the most climactic saga in the first half in terms of for the crew.
It is.
I think, obviously, Thriller Bark is kind of like a breather after this saga. I think it's cool, like Thriller Bark, but this is kind of like the end of kind of like the crew kind of saga that had been happening before this.
This is end of phase 1.
This is kind of end of phase 1. Because as much as much as we like, Paramount Wars, as much as we, like Impel Down, it's a one person arc. Those are Luffy sagas or arcs, however you want to frame it. So it's I almost feel like Luffy Oda still has this in his sleeve in the second half. I still think we're gonna get one of these Edie Slobbies, Water 7,
sure.
Yes. kind of like handful of maybe it's just one really good arc, but I think it's still coming in the New World second half.
Yeah, and I think what I was gonna building off of that, I think what I was going to say before was that this is emblematic of the themes of this arc, where everyone has their place, with Usopp finally bringing it full circle. You had Sanji realizing he just can't fight women, and you had Chopper surpassing his medical capabilities in terms of using going past his limits. You had Nami stepping up. Zoro does something that we're still trying to get explanations to this day.
I don't like
and
it.
And it's just all of this is building up to say that this crew, if they weren't the people that they were, that's it. This Enies Lobby would have gone a lot different.
They all level up here, and it feels like most of them level up in fighting. You get Monster Chopper, you get Diamble Humb, you get Asura, like Nami gets a good fight, which is always nice to see. It's just like they all seem to level up here, and Usopp doesn't in a fight, and he doesn't in a fight. He does in kind of this sniper moment, and I just think it's beautiful.
He does it in the most important way possible, which is what they said. They didn't even want to fight CP9. They're fighting CP9 because CP9's in their way right now. Their goal from the get-go into going into the Tower of Law was to get Robin.
So back to Robin before GrandMasterHoop blows the casket.
Well, again,
Grandmaster,
you
okay?
all are missing the most important thing that he did here.
What did he do?
Well, wait. He doesn't do it yet.
He did. He did it amongst the mayhem.
Well, it's not revealed until, I think they're like, Robin's running away, and then they start to chase after her, and then Frankie steps in.
Frankie shows up.
Frankie
caught himself from falling all the way down.
Yeah. And then, is this what you're talking about when they see that Usopp
shot the keys over.
Yep.
Beautiful.
Robin's free. They freed Robin. You're right.
And she breaks that man's back.
Okay, you could have built that up.
No, I'm not, because we've been bogged down too much.
Fine. She breaks his back. And I say quotes because he's like perfectly fine later on.
I saw the crack sound effect.
Yeah, I saw it too. Everybody saw it. He's just perfectly fine in later arcs.
I don't believe that. Robin has killed definitely a bunch of people with this same move. How come Spandam?
He's alive. He's alive.
He's alive, but he should be in a wheelchair.
He's not. He's standing.
This is why I call bogus on Oda. I don't understand
Dark
why
Knight
he does
Rises levels of bullshit.
Yes.
You can heal your back through unconventional methods.
Good. Don't you dare.
That's a good plug. Dark Knight Rises.
Oh my god. But so right, she breaks Spandam's back. Robin's free.
Yeah. Robin's free.
Her and Frankie are holding down the bridge.
They're holding down the bridge. While at the same time, Usopp's on top of the Tower of Law, and the Buster Call is still going on. And what is it?
The Buster Call starts.
Oh, the Buster Call starts.
It was called. It's coming.
Right.
But
okay.
This
and
is
you see it coming by the whirlpools. Yeah, the whirlpools have stopped.
The whirlpools have stopped.
At this point, as a reader, you're like, oh no. Oh no.
It's here. It's here. And what is it? Zoro and Sanji tell Usopp to get down, but he can't hear them. He's like, what are they saying down there? Boom. Explosion.
Yeah, it's this crazy thing that we're going to be doing over and over here. It's like this moment of like supreme jubilation over something, and then quickly it's undercut by like something bad happening. And so Usopp's on the tower, having just killed it. Boom, the Tower of Law like gets hit by like a gigantic cannonball, and it all comes crumbling down. And the Buster Calls. It's not on its way. It's not coming. It's
here.
Starting. It is here.
And they're here to lay waste. Zoro Sanji think that Usopp actually dies for like 5 seconds. And then what is it? He just comes crashing down.
He's like, you rang.
I don't think he says you rang.
You rang. It was something. He said something when he fell down.
He said you called after screaming.
Right.
I have the evidence here.
Yes. That's when they start lugging him around, Zoro and Sanji. They're like, all right, we got to carry this man the rest of the way. Because now everyone is making their way to the hidden passage. To catch up to where, that's the passage you have to take to get to where Luffy and Lucci are, which ultimately leads you to Robin and Frankie as well. Lucci, going back to Lucci versus Luffy, Lucci has an idea that, Luffy's friends are kind of holding their own for the most part in this fight. So he kind of speeds up the timer a little bit. He does a Tempest kick, right? and basically floods the entire area, which in turn starts flooding the hidden passageway. And that's the passageway that we have Nami in there, Chopper, everyone that's left, including Lady Kokoro, Chimney, everyone. So immediately you're thinking, wait, so they're in there, the water's gonna flood. Some of them are double fruit users. They're dead. Who's gonna come in with the clutch save?
Is this right now?
Yes, it is right now.
The Buster Call is coming, and then Luffy's just yelling at Lucci like, "What do you know about impossible?" And
do we get Gear 3 before or after?
It's like around this point we get Gear 3.
Well, hold on, finish this part.
Well, go ahead, finish it off.
Running.
What's the big reveal?
They get out of this dire situation? In comes Lady Kokoro, and what's funny is they all imagined it was a beautiful mermaid that rescued them, and they all had these fantasies about mermaids. And
not just Sanji, all of them did.
All of them, and it is revealed to be Kokoro. And
they're all foaming at the mouth when they see her. Big plot twist. She's a mermaid. Oh my god!
Our first mermaid. We never met a mermaid before.
Right.
Yes, and she saves the day. Kokoro for the win.
And what's the official mix for mermaids? Is it like you have to be mixed with like fishman and human, or is it something else?
No, she's not mixed.
Okay.
She is eventually their tails split into like legs.
Right.
And so she can walk.
That's right. So painful.
But how to
like
make a mermaid
or something?
To make a mermaid, you're just a mermaid. There's two different species, mermaid and fishman.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if there was like some mixing that they did to like produce one.
It's just the reverse, you know. Fishmen are more fish than they are human, and mermaids are half. The only thing that's fish about them are their legs.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
This was a nice little gag. You didn't expect Lady Kokoro to come in clutch, but she did. She did. It's all good.
It's a nice reprieve because I think Luffy's I don't know if it's stubbornness or if it's faith in his friends, maybe a mix of both, gets paid off. Because right before this, a lot happens in the fight, but he says, "Oh, I know I'm not going to be worried about my friends. I know that they're going to be fine. I'm not taking my eyes off you." And that's so important.
I'm not taking my eyes off you. Yes.
If Luffy took his eyes off of Lucci for like 1 minute, Lucci was going to immediately like speed run it to his friends and kill every one of them.
No, and Lucci even entertains it. He's like, "Hey, you could probably leave right now and go and help your friends, and you're probably gonna make it." And that's when Lucci mentions what you just said. I'm sorry, Luffy mentions what you just said. I'm not taking my eyes off you, so don't you dare.
Well, Luffy knows that this guy is strong, and that he's the strongest.
Right.
And if he can't beat him, no one can.
Exactly. So, I mean, and then this right here is when we get the reveal of what Gear 3 is all about.
Yeah, because it's like the inside is flooded. They kind of have to go to like another floor, and that's when kind of I think that we would consider like the second part of the fight begins. I think it's safe to say.
With the flying finger pistols. Then when you figure out that he can shoot those things, you're like, oh no, Luffy's up against the wall.
And then comes in the thumb, stick in the mouth, blow away, and then what? So there's a science behind it too. I like this. Again,
he's
it's
creative.
Oda science. It's Oda science.
It's called bone balloon. He pumps air into his rubber bones,
which is important because before as a kid, I guess I missed that when reading. I was wondering like, how do these punches hurt? If he's blowing his air into his fist, they're just like squishy.
How do these punches do this? He destroyed an entire building.
You just block it. Building. You just block it, easy. But no, it goes into his bone. He's enlarging his bone to be, and he even says it when he's doing it, to be the fist of a giant. He is equating to the next move he's about to do to be on the same level as a giant, punching or kicking or whatever move he's about to do. And his first move, right? Well, actually, he does the gum gum balloon, right? And it's something where he blows into his fist and he has to like redirect the air that he blew into his body to whatever portion he's going to use as the next attack. So he like, it goes into his fist, then he like redirects it into his chest, gets a big chest, then redirects it into the main hand he's going to use. And then in comes in our first Gear Turtle giant pistol. I loved it. It looked like it hurt. I don't know. I saw blood coming out of Lucci's mouth.
So
Lucci braces for with an iron body until it gets like rocked.
He tries to. I don't know how much that did, but
So I'll say when I first saw this, I thought it was pretty cool. I thought it was just really creative, and it also, you know, made me think like, oh, could he make himself into just a giant? Like, you know, will we ever get that? You know, it just, I guess the creativity came along with it. But I will say, to bring back to the point of this being a Super Saiyan 4,
goodness.
It definitely felt a little overwhelming because of what we just got of Gear 2. I thought we would see just maybe like a faster Gear 2, or like, you know, he just actually keep up. But no, it's like he pulls out Gear 3 out of nowhere. And you're like, okay, this is what makes him, like, this is what he must have done to that wall back. And when they were like, when he was with I think the two small Cobra.
Correct. Yeah. This is, you should put it together. This is what he did. Correct.
Yeah. So he had like punched the hole in the wall, and it's like, okay, yeah, like how did he do that? Now we figured it out that in that same episode he had already knew Gear 3. So when did he get all of this, you know, ability so quickly from training? You know,
you just need to accept it that Luffy is a battle genius. And he said, hey, you know, I'm just stretching my arms all the time. How about I use my entire body as the weapon? And that's where you get the whole, you know, blood pumping, the bone marrow expansion. I don't know. I thought it was fine. I thought it was
what I kind of like, and it's like something I'm kind of like picking up now in this reread. You know, I've said that a lot. You know, it's not like kind of what you're saying, Kame Chris. It's not Super Saiyan 3. It's not like a better version of Luffy. It is exactly what he's saying it is. It is a different gear. You know what I mean? It's not like, and it kind of plays out in this fight. You know what I mean? Yes, Luffy is stronger. He can create gigantic fists, gigantic feet, and do these really powerful attacks, but he's so much slower. And Lucci points this out, and it's like there is like an inherent weakness to this different gear, and I think Luffy kind of, I don't know, he plays this fight perfectly, if you ask me. And I think I'll hold off on saying anything more for now and kind of like chime in more about it as we keep going. But I think in the end, I don't know, at least Gear 2 and 3. I don't know if this holds true for 4. Spoiler alert. And any others that ever might come along. But it holds true, at least in my eyes, in 2 and 3, and it's showcased here.
Yeah. And you know, this fight, like because we get a little bit of Rob Lucci's like backstory, and it's a very quick backstory.
Yes.
He loves killing. The end. That's the backstory. He has scars in his back and he loves killing. Like, and it's funny how much this fight in particular sets up so many other fights that Oda like builds on that. Like you get the gum rocket when Luffy gets shot into like the next ship, and you're like, wait, Luffy can fly almost. And then when you know, as the series progresses, you're like, on the reread, you're like, wow, Oda had this idea from chapter 422. and it's interesting how he just develops it.
Wait, had what idea?
He develops the Gum rocket.
Okay, got it. I thought you were saying like he had the gear system plan from like chapter 1 for some reason.
No,
he had it all written out. He had the Yonkos, he had the 7 warlords. But no, I definitely agree. I like Oda's expansion on the powers with the gum fruit. So far, at least when it comes to Eni's lobby. You do get some backstory with Rob Lucci. It's not that deep. It's like maybe like 2-3 panels. Navy sent him in one time to save the hostages from some pirate situation. He kills the hostages first, and then he kills the pirates, and that's his form of dark justice. And I think the logic with it was like, oh, if the hostages, they were soldiers, right? They were like actual soldiers that got I guess kidnapped, whatever. And his logic was, well, if they were weak enough to get kidnapped, that's a hindrance on us to uphold the peace in quotation marks.
I took it as Tom Cruise from Tropic Thunder. We don't negotiate with terrorists.
Terrible.
So everyone's a terrorist in that situation.
Yep.
It's really weird. He has scars on his back that are coincidentally in the same pattern as the world government symbol. I always found that kind of weird.
Yeah, you know what? I'll say it. I don't like his backstory. Didn't need it. Didn't think
it's just
good.
there. They don't really home in on it too much. I don't mind it. I don't mind that it's there.
I'm glad they didn't.
you glad that they didn't go deep into it?
I mean, like, I feel like on the surface, I don't think it's very good. I think like this is kind of like a Joker in the Dark Knight, to bring it back to this franchise, this movie series. I think the lack of backstory for the Joker in the Dark Knight was super cool. You just didn't know what his deal was, like where he really came from. He hints at like a backstory, but at the end it didn't really matter. He was a cool character on his own. And I felt that way about Rob Lucci. I got that he was in love with killing for whatever reason. Didn't quite make sense. He was a ventriloquist. He kind of like was pretty stylish. He had his hat. He had that like big fur coat. He like wanted to like look good in.
Oh my God, we forgot the pigeon had a coat too. He had a little miniature
coat.
Who cares?
Don't you dare! Don't you dare! You better
this is
stop.
Just to say he's cool on his own. And he didn't need a backstory. And, this backstory didn't rise up to the level of the Rob Lucci I think Oda was like kind of forming beforehand.
Well, I was actually going to say the opposite of what him forming him. I didn't think he built him that much at all during this entire thing. I think it was just kind of like a look. I think we got more moments like with Kaku than him, if anything.
You do.
Yeah, like he wasn't that, important. I think he was just kind of like not, I guess, highlighted in the whole storyline only because they needed to keep him under wraps as far as like being the last person that Luffy's going to fight, even though Luffy kind of hinted at it when he said he just wanted to fight him anyway when he first saw him. So, I mean, even since then, like his story hasn't been. I mean, like he hasn't said much, but like a few words and made a few looks, like so him having a backstory would kind of not make sense to the narrative that they already, built for him. I think CP9 is solely just supposed to be a stepping stone for the Straw Hats. Really, they weren't supposed to be this like a thing that's supposed to last so like way after this happens.
Go ahead, Grandmaster.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think what we don't really realize here at this point in One Piece is that a lot of characters we will be seeing again. So it's like you don't get much on Lucci.
That's true.
During this arc, however, maybe we'll see him again, and maybe it'll expand on his character.
But I think this was enough to give Oda the thematic storytelling, because when you look at Rob Lucci, like he had to give him like a backstory and a character because he's a much bigger he's a much smaller piece in a much bigger puzzle that is the world government, that is the real threat that, you know, the Straw Hats are going to have to face. Because like his backstory with the idea of dark justice is important. Yes, he may still be like a stepping stone for Luffy to overcome, but ultimately, like, as we'll see with other, you know, I think in a similar way as we see with other villains, you know, that are also big and men and Zoans and kind of scary looking and muscular. They don't have necessary, like, they have a backstory, they have a purpose in the One Piece universe, but ultimately they're just big meat machines that go punch, drink. Not so much in Lucci's case, but I'm hinting at someone else that I think parallels Rob Lucci very nicely.
Yeah, I can.
Interesting.
I can buy the backstory with Lucci just on the sole fact that, you know, they didn't harp on it too much, and I feel like it was more of a selling point to show the world government employs this man, like full benefits, paycheck, everything. He is getting a pension once he retires,
and he's insane.
And he's insane. He is not someone tamed, and we've seen it even on the Puffing Tom train mini section before Annie's Lobby. Lucci just straight up kills one of his own guys, Nero.
Yeah.
Just because he was not capable of defeating Frankie. He did not master all 6 of the powers. He only mastered, I think, like 3 or 4. But the government still is on this man's side, and I'm fine in that regard. I didn't need it, but at the same time, I'm like, okay, this government is corrupt. They have got to go.
Yeah, I guess my point, just to wrap it up, isn't that Rob Lucci's backstory made me dislike him? It's like I think Rob Lucci's like one of my favorite One Piece characters. Like for everything else that's going on with him, and this backstory didn't quite add enough to me to make me be like, oh yeah, that's also a reason.
Right.
So.
Yeah. He's fine on his own without the backstory. But either way, you know, his own men in the military, they are afraid of him as well. They are petrified.
I do like that. I like that. That's some cool stuff.
Right. So it's like, you know, you have your pirates where you hear a pirate name and, you know, everyone starts, you know, crapping themselves and saying like, oh my God, it's that pirate. It's Whitebeard or it's Shanks or whoever. Same thing happens in the Navy too, apparently, and with straight up fear, because Luffy punches Rob Lucci with the giant pistol, sends him flying, and he falls onto one of the Navy ships outside of where Luffy and Lucci were fighting. And, you know, everyone's ready to shoot whoever just landed on the ship and the Navy. And once the dust clears and they see that it's Lucci, they're like, oh crap, that's Lucci, goodness. And they're all terrified of him. He tells them to just like shut up, get out of his way. He's in the middle of something more important right now. And that's when Luffy kind of just keeps up the offensive. You know, he comes in, keeps doing a bunch of variations of you know, giant attacks in Gear 3, and kind of going to what HooperTV was saying and what Lucci pointed out, this form is really slow for Luffy. It's really easy to read, really easy to dodge, but the power behind it is nothing to scoff at. I think when Lucci first got hit by the pistol, he even thought to himself, holy crap, I am losing consciousness right now. So he was almost out of it from just that first punch. So immediately he knows Iron Body is not going to cut this. I got to dodge this. And the power from it, I'm not surprised. Luffy's destroying a lot of these ships. He's destroying the mast. He's destroying like the actual the actual bulk of the ship. It's crazy. There's power behind these punches and kicks. I like.
And not to jump ahead, but because we're making this point now.
Yeah.
You know, so kind of like after this, Luffy becomes small. He shrinks. You know, he becomes like he becomes small Luffy again. And he's kind of like to himself, like, all right, like I was in that mode for a minute, probably need to run around for a minute. Lucci sees this and he's like, all right, yo, I'm about to wreck this like small version of him. and he starts to, and it's kind of like he's getting ready to do like his finishing move, and then he kind of stops, and he like feels like this like onslaught of pain all of a sudden, and he's like, all of a sudden he's like, oh snap, like those punches I was taking earlier, I'm feeling it still. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a really cool moment. It's a really cool moment.
No, it's good because you know the effect that this fight is having on Lucci. It's working. You know, it's this man is crumbling slowly. Yeah, regardless of what face he puts on or how much confidence he exudes, he is slowly becoming exhausted from this fight. And it's great to see that. You know, good visual cues from Oda. There are little gags in there when he's like little mini Luffy. I think when Lucci catches him, he's like in the middle of like a monologue, like he's about to say, I'm gonna kill you or something. Before he even finishes his sentence, I think Luffy like punches him in the face in his mini form, and that just pisses Lucci off. I love that scene because the punch, it didn't do anything. It doesn't hurt because Luffy's in his like his mini form. So I don't know. It was a nice gag from Oda, but eventually, you know, he comes back to his regular size. I think that's the paper art you were referring to, Grandmaster, because now I'm looking at it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I looked it up. It's called
paper art fighting form.
Kame, or I don't know, however you want to spell it, but it's literally, we see it when, like I said, Fukuro uses it. We see Bluno use it during Iceberg's mansion. He's just kind of dodging really easily. They become paperweight. So yes, Lucci shrinks down essentially, and he's lighter on his feet now.
That it is. And so around this same time, I think
it's important we explain what's happening around.
Right. So Kokoro, you know, brings everyone up onto shore, you know, after having saved them from the hallway getting flooded. And I think this is around the point where it's, what happens after this? Like, is it?
Well, before that, it's like Frankie is with Robin, you know, and that's when I think Spandam's like, well, Robin at one point is kind of like in shock, you know, she's like seeing the bombings, and she's kind of like, you know, reminiscing about O'Hara, and she's kind of like, you know, almost like, you know, shivering. She can barely even move. And so this isn't like Oda's best kind of like, you know, mini arc, if you will, but like Robin does overcome that. She's like, yo, you know what?
It's
I have
trauma.
The straw hats
it's trauma.
It's trauma. And she's like, you know, oh, I have the straw hats here. I'm good now. I'm ready to fight. Because I think Frankie was holding off the Navy members on his own.
Right.
And then Frankie gets a cool moment here too. It's like so funny. It's like these are like on their own in like a vacuum. They're like pretty cool moments, but within all these mega ultra all-time One Piece moments, they almost kind of get like forgotten about. But like Frankie stops Frankfried.
Oh, Funkfried. Yeah,
Funkfried. I think Spandam throws him at Robin, and then Frankie jumps in front of it and stops it. And I think I'm almost positive it's kind of a throwback, a callback to Frankie being unable to stop the train when they were taking Tom.
Okay. Tying it back to that. I mean, like, I never saw it like that.
It's like the same position. And I think Oda does like a quick flashback to kind of like, you know, kind of nudge
Hammer
you
it home.
Yeah, you know, kind of nudge you into thinking like that. And like, you know, it's like a nice moment, but as I said, it's like, it's one you can almost be like, all right, cool, like nice, like Frankie's like overcoming like the moment he destroyed half his body. But because all the other moments are like so big, so cool, you're kind of like just moving on. And so that happens too. And I think they both have like nice moments for themselves before they join back up with the crew.
With Kokoro and the rest of them? Is that what they got?
The crew, I think, catches up with them, but I think they also take a ship. If I'm not mistaken, they're about to board a Navy ship, and that's the way they're going to get off the island.
They're trying to secure an escape route.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's the ship that would normally take you out through the gates is the one they hop on. It's not one of the big warships. It's
not a big warship. No,
it's like the other ship that would take you off Enies Lobby, I guess.
Right. And so is it at this point like the Navy kind of homes in on them? Like, because they're
the Navy is wrecking Enies Lobby, you know?
Right.
And then I think that's when they're on the crew. I think the crew reunites with Robin and they're super happy to be with Robin again. I think they have like that nice moment. And then they're on the phone with the Frankie family. And then that's when they hear that they're locking in on them, and then they just get laid to waste. They're taken out. Yeah, they get obliterated, and they're supposedly, all destroyed. And Frankie's kind of like hurt by that. Like no survivors, I think is what he hears.
Yes, yeah, he hears over the radio that there are no survivors on Enies Lobby, and it comes right after the scene where, you had the two giants running away with the Frankie family, and they run into like warships like on the exit of the island, and they just blast them into the pits, I guess, like the bottomless pits and Enies Lobby.
Waterfall. They go over the waterfall.
Right. And so you expect them to die from that, but as it's revealed later.
But we'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah,
see what happens.
I think Robin's the one who's hurt the most by this. She's like, oh yeah, this is what they do. They think it's just like, a place on a map they can erase. And
it's so much more than that. Now that you're at ground zero, you see the true horror of what this really is.
Well, keep in mind too, there's actually, the naval officers that work at Enies Lobby who are also being hit by the Buster Call.
The people that are left unconscious, that are like, Luffy probably punched them. They're probably sleeping on the floor. They're getting obliterated.
But also there was a scene where when Spandam did the Buster Call, he's speaking into it, and it's not going out. He then thinks he's speaking into the Buster Call, saying, I don't care what you do to this island, destroy everybody on this island. I don't care if they're Marine, pirates, or anybody. Destroy everything. And then all the Navy hear that. So, it speaks to Spandam's wickedness, but it's also now everybody's in panic. It's literally every man for themselves.
It is. And what I'm trying to figure out when this scene happens. You remember that scene where one of the vice admirals was ordering his men to, I guess, continue the Buster Call or do something, and one of them stepped up. One of his men were like, wait, why do you want us to do that? And immediately that vice admiral shoots him.
Yeah.
You remember that scene? Okay.
I think it was a nice little scene, yeah, with the character you don't know, but
right, exactly. I mean, that vice admiral, I imagine we're probably gonna see him off to the side, like at some point later on in the series. But
it would be a nice callback for sure.
Yeah. I just thought it was really cool. Again, this Navy plays no games with a Buster Call. It's all in. All the chips are on the table. Annihilate everything. Don't discriminate. Just kill everyone on the island.
Yeah. So it's like, so that's happening. But those are only like 3 ships. And then Luffy and Lucci start picking up again. And I feel like up to this point, they were like, hey, don't bomb Robin. Like, that's by Admiral Okiji.
Yes, that's how they were able to last actually a very long time.
Right.
You're supposed to concentrate
men onto
they start circling around as Luffy and Lucci kind of start to pick things back up, Okay. It's like, as I said, Lucci goes in for like, not like a finishing blow, but he's like going to take advantage of Luffy being small. He's like, oh shit, like I'm actually in more pain than I thought. And then Luffy's back to being big. And it's like, yo, not fast enough. It's time to begin part 3 and probably the final part of this fight.
Is the final part of the fight.
So let's get into it.
So it's just straight up Gear 2 this time, right? No more Gear 3.
Well, you need to mention no more Gear 3, but this is him going Gear. No, he doesn't go immediately. He tries to withhold his own, and Lucci points out, "Oh, hey, it looks like that gear form of yours is actually wearing away at your life. It's probably costing you some of your lifespan." And so,
very choice words.
Yes, Luffy does recognize that. And so, but he does go Gear 2nd. This is number 2 in this fight.
I think this is kind of like ties into the point I was trying to make earlier of just like Gear 3 isn't necessarily stronger. I think Luffy realizes like, all right, Gear 3 served its purpose. It weakened him. To beat him, I will need to use Gear 2. And I think like it turns out to be like the right call. I think, I don't know, this is like, feels like one of Oda's probably coolest technical fights. You know, I think this is like something, I think the best of Naruto has a lot of like, kind of like cool maneuvering, plotting when it comes to, you know, their best fights and battles. Mm-hmm. And it feels like this one where Luffy's like, all right, I'm going Gear 3 to weaken him, going back to Gear 2 to kind of finish him off. I think it ends up being really cool. So,
you know, this is where I have to, for implications for the rest of the story, this is where I have to throw some, how do you say, some
salt,
doubt.
some pepper.
No, some doubt
Adobo?
into what Rob Lucci says, because we hear from Rob Lucci that Luffy is dying, right?
What,
or like he's like using his lifespan,
right? But you don't agree with what Lucci's assessment?
Maybe I don't agree. Maybe why should we trust as readers Rob Lucci?
Well, he's been on the money so far when he was assessing Luffy's earlier feats. When he assessed, you know, what Luffy was doing with Gear 2nd, what was going on with that. And it turns out to be true, because when Luffy hears it, he doesn't disagree. He doesn't say, no, that's not what's happening. Don't spread those lies. He just kind of like, oh wow, he's a very astute individual in the middle of a fight. He knows what I'm doing. So with the lifespan thing, I think it's a fair thing to like agree with. I don't see Lucci just saying that just to be like, oh, haha, you're kind of getting tired out yourself too.
Yeah, Luffy's in rough shape after this fight, you know, where he can't even move. He's definitely like exuding a lot, like more energy than I think we've ever seen him kind of exude.
But I'm just saying, as the story goes forward, I'm doubting a little bit more about what Rob Lucci said.
Oh, okay. So I think I know what you're alluding to. I think at this point in the story, it is taking a toll on Luffy when he goes into Gear 2nd. Later on, as we progress, I don't remember if there's a line or a scene or whatever. I think that gets swept under the rug as like, no, it's fine now. He has it under control.
Thank you for giving me some sort of some sort of like rest in my head, because this is a very contentious piece of lines.
He keeps, because throughout the story, Luffy keeps going into Gear 2 and he's using jet pistol, jet everything. It was a question in the fandom for quite some time. Like, is this guy dying like every time he fights? Is he slowly dying?
I was going to bring up that that's still questioned, and I mean, it's very specific on lifespan. Like, there's no translation mark, you know, on it. So
yeah, I when we get to those, because I think it's like in the time skip era where I don't know if they directly address it, but it's something that's said or mentioned or just, you know, hinted at, where it's like, you don't have to worry about this man killing himself every time he goes into Gear 2 or anytime he uses a jet, anything. Where that is, I'm not sure, but we're going to get to it eventually as we trudge along in the series. But either way, like right now, like Lucci and Luffy, they're tired. This fight is drawing to a close really, really soon.
it's like he's going gear 2, and then Lucci loads like his most powerful attack, the 6 King pistol.
Yes.
Yeah,
which is weird. Like what is it? Is it just like a force thing that you exude from your?
You could say it's a type. You could say it's a type of hard surface, like maybe like comparable to metal, almost like armor that's expanding to be.
Stop! This is ridiculous. I mean, I just accepted it. I just like, oh, okay, it hurts. It hurts.
It hurt real bad.
It hurt real
bad. There is some. I actually really like this. Let's see if I'm able to show it. I don't know if I'm going to be able to show it for our YouTube audience. But there's a moment, and I have to hold it upside down for some reason, that Luffy just goes all white, and he like loses like the color in his face, and it's just like this really cool.
That's after the first time he does it on Luffy?
I think so.
And it lands?
Yeah, it's the first time he does it. He kind of like lose all the coloration in his face, and it's just really, really well drawn kind of little chunk for Oda that I think really shows the power of this thing. And then, to kind of hammer it home, I think Luffy goes like, that felt like an impact dial, but stronger.
Yes.
To kind of give the readers a scale, even though it looked powerful, so it's like Lucci's bringing that out. Luffy's I think Luffy says like, I'm going gear 2 until I beat you. Like, this is it. Like, I'm not getting out of this mode until you're done or I'm done. And so as that's going down, I think that's when, the ships are closing in on the crew, and they're like calling like, yo, all the captains, lieutenants, raid this ship. And I think somebody is like, oh, so they're all as strong as Smoker.
Yep.
Yeah. And it's like, oh wow, they're about to unload like hundreds of dudes like Smoker onto the ship. And it's pretty cool.
One of them like destroys they have a devil fruit where it's like a rusting ability.
Oh, the rust.
The rust, I guess it's what it is, because there's an individual that destroys one of Zoro's swords that he got from Longtown, and he basically grabbed it and it just crumbled away. And at that point, Zoro's like, holy crap, some of these guys are devil fruit users, Jesus. And it's crazy, like these guys don't have that much time left to hold off against all these captains. Smoker gave them enough crap, just solo with Tashigi, but a whole armada of them just raining down on the Straw Hats, that's a little bit more than they can
you're
shoot.
left wondering with the question. Usopp asked it in 425, he won't die, will he? And then you just see Luffy and Lucci's faces, at the end. So it's Oda's really building the tension here, because he's like, not only is all this happening, but now I'm gonna make you think that, he's meant, and this is the chapter that he mentions it, that it's taking a toll on his body. So it's costing him like so much just to try and beat Lucci, he's having trouble keeping up with. And now he's like, now to just sprinkle more salt. What if his crew Steven starts worrying about?
Right.
It's like,
yeah, no.
Writing.
So
it's good writing.
I think we're all at the same place, because like I think a canon goes towards that where they know Luffy is, and that's when they're wondering like, oh, is he going to die? Is he going to win this fight? And then I think the smoke clears or whatever, and they get to see into kind of the fight. They are able to now see Luffy, and then that's when they're all yelling like, beat him. You got this, Luffy. Luffy's like, kind of smiles. He's like, yo, I know I got my crew behind me. I'm going to be able to handle this. And that's when the lieutenants, the captains are unloaded. And so it's like the crew's now in trouble. Luffy, at least a moment ago, was confident that he was going to be able to handle Lucci after seeing his friends. But Lucci just like,
he lands another one. He lands another six finger pistol.
Yeah, Yeah,
you have to really take a step back, because I really do like that Oda is consistent with his character of his characterization of Rob Lucci, because Rob Lucci, he commends Luffy. He's like, it looks like you were right. They're all alive. And he's like, but let's see if you have the same look on your face in a few minutes time. And he's just looking at him like, I'm just gonna kill everybody. And he's like, lawlessness cannot be left to flourish in this world. So it's like even though he's like a big meat beat up stick, he's shown to be like, oh, he has ideals. He's just a scumbag. So
he has his compass, as messed up as it is.
So I have to really appreciate, because I really find it so interesting of Oda's thematic storytelling with characters about what is justice, what is lawlessness, what is freedom. Like, all of these are fighting for each other and this is like towards the end game of One Piece. So it's just interesting that like you see like another big villain that's like has his own idea of justice, and Luffy has to take him down because it's ultimately wrong.
Right.
Yeah, no, I agree. I definitely think it's like I think I just like Rob Lucci as a character so much that it's like I don't even know if like I either look for the kind of symbolism kind of behind him, but it's like I kind of know it's there. I think Dr. Jace pointed to how like his back looks like the world government flag, you know, and so it's like it's definitely there. And I do like how just like his dark justice is just like, you know, I think Luffy is the one who says like that's what we're trying to free Robin from, and I don't know, it just ties together really well while also being like a cool epic kind of climactic moment.
And it builds up. It builds up to I love this next scene. I love this. This is beautiful. Luffy gets another Six King pistol to the chest. This move was landed twice on him so far. It hurts. We've established this is a very painful move to be on the receiving end of. And Luffy collapses.
Luffy goes down.
He goes down. He's out. He's gone for right now. And what HooperTV mentioned earlier, you know, you have that opening in the tower that was created by the bombardment, and you have our good boy Soga King. He notices
Soga King's fighting with Zoro.
He's fighting with Zoro.
You know, and all you know, Zoro's super focused on fighting. You know,
right?
And so all of a sudden,
there's only one person who can see. There's only one person who can see that far.
That is true. Yes, there is only one individual. Yes, that is correct. He notices Soga King go off, off on his own.
It's coming off
like,
together.
He says sniper.
Yes.
He's like, you know, he doesn't even say his name.
He's still keeping up, you know, the charade that this is Sniper King, and off comes the mask.
The mask comes off.
Beautiful. Ooh. And you get a good panel of just Usopp staring down at Luffy, screaming his name. I love this.
Great.
This is beautiful. In the anime, it does it justice just as well. Manga, beautiful as well. I love this. I love this scene. And what Usopp just gives him, you know, the pep talk that he needs. He's like, Luffy, what are you doing? Get your ass up.
Does he give him a pep talk? Well, he says, he plays a dirty trick that works, but he's just like, hey, Rob Lucci, you have to fight me now.
Well, not yet.
Yeah. He's like his name. He's calling his name. And it takes a moment for Luffy to kind of like see him, but it's like so cool. He's like, Usopp, you came? It is
confirming that he didn't know it was Usopp until now.
Idiot.
He is an idiot along with Chopper.
So stupid.
That has been put to bed. He did not know Soga King was Usopp.
And you know what? The greatest thing, and this one really proves his stupidity, is that this moment is played to hit you emotionally because you believe Luffy didn't know he was here. You know what I mean?
It's beautiful.
This moment only works if you believe Luffy had no idea he was here. And it works because you do. You believe that he didn't know he was so king.
I feel like if he knew it was Soga King, it does kind of take away from this scene a little bit. Because I feel like,
for sure.
like it's not as impactful because Luffy, up until this point, and we mentioned it on previous episodes, there are these little gags that him and the crew go through whenever they're mentioning their friends or anyone, and they're like, they're saying, oh wow, Nami, you got a new weapon. That was the last thing I made for you.
Yep.
And everyone's sad. Luffy sad, Nami sad, Chopper sad. Zoro has the tough guy look the entire time. He's like, all right, I gotta be the stern one here. But the fact that he didn't know that Usopp was with him this entire time, like, I feel like Luffy at this point was maybe on the verge of tears, perhaps. But then what Nino was alluding to earlier, that's when Usopp's like, Sussy Baka, do not think that I'm here because like I wanted to be part of the crew. I'm here for Robin. I am here for Robin. I love this. I love this.
Yeah, and to Nino's point, it's like not a pep talk, but to Sanji's point earlier when he's like kind of like pointing out everybody plays a role, everybody has their place in this crew and in this rescue mission to save Robin. It's not quite a pep talk, but Usopp says exactly what needs to be said to get Luffy to get his ass back up. He's not like, yo, get up. It's not like, hey,
right.
We
it's not like the
need
power
to
of friendship. Get up.
Oh, that would be Nard. That would be fairy tale.
He's like, yo, Rob Lucci, let's go. I want you.
And he gets the glare. He gets the Rob Lucci glare, and you're like, oh, Lucci he will go there.
And what do you call it? Luffy's like begging. He's like, don't fight me. And Rob Lucci's like, I already beat you. I'm gonna kill everyone anyway. I was like,
because Luffy's still on the ground. He's still on the ground. And he's yelling from the ground, like turning his mouth.
And Usopp is just really giving. He's saying the best things because
Usopp
he's
is
like, fight me, you big pussy cat. I know a few ways to skin one. What are you talking about, Usopp?
This is what needs to be said.
The lies come in handy.
It's beautiful because once
he
Luffy knows,
skin him one time.
Not at all. There's no way. Firestar, no. I'm sorry, Usopp. No. Firestar ain't doing anything here. Luffy realizes his words aren't gonna get to Lucci, so then he switches gears to Usopp. He's like, Usopp, please, for the love of God, stop. This man is clearly out of your league, and Usopp again reiterates what needs to be said. He's like, okay, you're half dead, my man. What are you gonna do? Like, who else is gonna fight this guy? And I love this. I love this. Luffy basically says, I'm going to beat him.
Yeah, and you have to love Usopp's dialogue here. It's some beautiful dialogue because, like, I think in the anime they kind of they say too much. You know what I mean? Like they explain it. They explain it. Like Usopp is like going on about if he doesn't stop him, then he's gonna kill him. So you need to get up. And like he just keeps begging. You know what I mean? It's still a good scene. Yeah. But like if you listen to like the words, it's like, stop lying there like a dying man. It's not like you. Sure, there's lots of black smoke, but you can still see the blue sky and the sea. This isn't the afterlife. Stop acting like this is the end. Stop making me worry.
And
that's
as he's saying that,
he's crying.
It is great. As he's saying that, Usopp's crying, but you see Luffy put his fist down, and you see him starting to lift up, and he says, "Got it. This isn't even close to the afterlife." And that's when Lucci's like, "Oh, he's not done," and And then here we go. I mean, this is everything.
Usopp tells him, win this battle, Luffy. We're all going back together. Oh, man. Peak One Piece. I'm sorry, man. This is the best arc.
This is the best.
Hands down.
It's a great moment. It's a great moment.
We're not done. We're not even done.
We're not even done. Back into gear second. Lucci is getting ready. I mean, this man's huffing and puffing. He's on his last legs as well.
Lucci goes big body mode. You know, he says life return release. And then they know this is it. These are the final blow moves.
The final blows. He does kind of like a cool finger pistol variant, like Gatling gun almost. You know, a bunch of finger pistols going around.
He's such a biter. He's copying Luffy to beat Luffy.
Exactly. But again, right then and there, he's about to get hit by a third Six King pistol. I think Lucci uses his tail to like hold him there so he can withstand the brunt of it.
Now, how does this work? You know, reading this in the manga, I'm like, I didn't quite get it. Because, yeah, it looks like he uses his Six King pistol, has Luffy wrapped up in a tail. And
are you talking about the, like, when he lets him go and then like it just cuts to Luffy like just standing up as if nothing happened?
Yeah.
Okay.
Standing up behind him.
Yes. Okay. So I did notice that because it did bother me because it's like, wait, am I missing a panel? Does someone tear out a page from?
Wait a minute, this isn't Wano. We can't skip both events like that.
You cannot. So the way the anime portrays it, they just add just a little bit, just like an extra 5 to 10 seconds. Lucci fires Six King pistol on Luffy, and then he lets him go. And Lucci just starts walking past Luffy as if, all right, this guy's done. He's gone. Like, I won this fight. Luffy is left standing, and you think he's about to fall over. Like, as if, like, dude, I just got my third Six King pistol. Goodness, I'm done. The man does not fall down. He's about to fall down. He does not. He gears up again.
And you get all these scenes from all the saga. The scene with Aokiji, the scene with Robin in the mansion, the scene with Lucci, and then you start seeing the punches.
The anime did it better.
No way that the anime did. This is a great. If you look at it, the paneling here from this page where Luffy is just still standing, and you just see the looks, the flashbacks, and then the hits. You feel this hit. Look at this. Look at this.
It's beautiful. That's a meat.
Can't see a thing.
That's like. I love it. It's like kneading dough. Like, I don't know. It's like going inside of like a pastry.
I'm going to tell you right now, the anime does it 100 times better because what you see is it's like, one, it's slow motion, but it's like not only slow motion, you see it impact so
it is
clearly.
Slow motion. You
I mean,
see
it is,
some
but
elements.
It's not like slow motion, you know? It's just like really emphasizing the impact versus,
but when you're talking about the paneling and the art here, like everything is coming to an end. Like, I feel like Oda, this is really part of, like, I think in terms, this is part of peak Oda, I think. Like, just on these 3 or 4 pages and everything that comes next, you just feel everything. Everything is so fluid. Everything is just like, you feel like, even with the panels that nothing's happening, I'm just like looking at them, and I'm just like, I feel the intensity. I feel it's great. I love when the hybrid form of like comics and manga and actual like dialogue and words mesh together in a way that is just, it's beautiful. This moment is beautiful.
It's a master class. I mean, I appreciate both what the anime did and the manga did for this scene. I feel like they both did it justice. It's nice to see it animated just so like you can see the speed at which these punches are being thrown. You could definitely see it in the manga. It's there. Like, you could tell this man is punching him very quickly, but the anime does just that little bit of extra adobo onto the chicken. Just a little bit. You get everything. I mean, these punches are going at these insane speeds where it's almost as if Luffy is growing a bunch of arms at once. Because even on the same panel, there's 3 fists connecting to Lucci.
Yes.
And Luffy does not have 3 fists unless he's hitting him with something else. And I'm like, what's going on? And but no, he's just hitting him that quickly. I loved it. This was I mean, maybe as I'm going through the reread, maybe I'll find something else that comes close to it. This is like one of my all-time, I would say my all-time favorite finishing blow in One Piece.
Oh, for sure.
We don't get full 2-page spreads anymore. I don't think. Like Oda has really favored the 2/3 page spread because of the digital medium, like
where it's turning like into just digital. The top 2/3.
Yeah, it's kind of like the box like this, and then you see like it's like an L border.
Okay,
with, like reactions and stuff. He really favors that now because he gets to have his cake and eat it too. Like he gets to have reactions alongside a nice spread, but it's terrible in the printed form. Like there's like a one of the new ones where Kaido's face is like squished by the thing, and it's like, but we don't get big like spreads like this anymore for like a fight. I don't remember one in Wano. I don't remember one in Whole Cake Island. So it's kind of like this is really nice to see on the reread.
It's
really
beautiful.
Nice to see.
Jet Gatling. I love it. It's fantastic. And it's the move to put Lucci to sleep.
So I was trying to let you guys like have your space there. To like,
Is this a HooperTV reads?
Wax poetically. Well, not exactly. Not yet. It's coming. Don't you worry. Because like, I don't know. This final blow doesn't hit me as hard as like I think I'd want it to. I don't think Gatling's like my favorite kind of finishing move. I think Oda does a great job of capturing it, but I think it's like kind of harder to capture than like, a single blow. And then kind of what we were talking about earlier, where I was like taken out of it in that kind of like build up moment where I was like, wait, how's he, when I was reading in the manga.
Oh, that transition where he hits him and he's like, how is he standing there? Like,
yeah, I had to pause and be like, am I missing something?
It was weird. No, I know, because I'm more familiar with the anime's interpretation of this scene, because like you always see it on YouTube, like, Luffy versus Lucci, Luffy versus Crocodile, all your versus anime clips.
Yeah. And
so when reading this, I was taken aback, and I prefer reading the manga as opposed to watching the anime. And I was like, wow, they really handled that weird. And I had to go back and double check and make sure. So wait, the anime added to that scene? And
wait, what's so weird? I don't understand. What is so weird?
So you went MIA during this reveal.
It skipped from Rob Lucci doing his 6 King pistol to like him already having his back turned and Luffy's just standing there.
Yeah,
as if it didn't do anything. Like,
and I know what happened here.
I thought Luffy may have dodged it for a second. I thought he may have like somehow.
No, he didn't dodge.
He took it. He took it.
Yeah,
but the anime again goes into like how much he's willing to just stand up and withstand something like that.
He takes it. He stumbles, but he doesn't fall.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
And I think I know why Oda did that. And it's clearly because he wanted, like, in the very, like, not the page after that, but the page right after, it's a full page, 2 pages spread. And he was kind of like, do I want to add 2 more pages so I can get my spread? And he's like, no, I don't. I'm just gonna, they know what happens. I want my 2-page spread. I don't want to make it like, just like half a page or something. So I get why. I get why. It's the medium that it's in.
Yeah, as we're talking about it, I see it as like, all right, Lucci did 6 King pistol, like his best attack against Luffy.
Right.
Luffy eats it. Luffy goes around and does his best move. Lucci goes down. And I think that kind of like, mirroring, I think is like really cool. But
and it's also the page turn too. The page turn, like, look, you can't see it on the phone, but like This from here, you imagine this was a real page. You turn the page, and then it's the full spread.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's I really do think it's because of the medium that it's in. If Oda was doing this to like this arc today, I think he would have done it differently because pages are not printed anymore. It's all mostly digital. So he probably would have done it with maybe a little bit more clarity with the action. But I think that because he wanted that page turn to be so impressive, where literally everything of the saga is on one page turning it, and then you just see Luffy just demolishing Rob Lucci. It's important. The medium that it's in is important.
It is.
No, I love when Oda does that. I think I'm like right with you. And you know, I'm like just bringing up no slight critiques, not because you know, I wanted to point out that this arc isn't as good as others, because I keep saying like, yo, this arc is, you know, top tier, top notch, number one. And you know, you would think like, all right, whoa, you didn't like the final blow, the ending fight, and it's like, oh, love the ending fight, to be clear. This final blow might not be my favorite in terms of reading in the manga, but it's like what comes next that I think really solidifies this arc, this saga is the best, because you're kind of lulled into kind of you know, that all right, guess it's over. You know, the final fight has happened. Luffy's won. The crew is cheering. You know,
happily
there
ever
might be
after.
some shenanigans. There might be some shenanigans to get out of here, but you know, this is usually when things kind of like chill out. And there's, you know, before we transition into the new arc, and like, not in this one. Oda has a few more reveals, surprises, and monumental moments to deliver before.
I feel like we've been climaxing for 20 chapters. So like
exactly,
like
we have. It's
exactly
we're going to Hooper TV's point. You know, the final blow is done. Lucci has been defeated. He goes flying off, blasting off again, and he's done. Fight's over. Luffy collapses. He cannot get up.
Can't move.
Oh boy. Who is going to save him? Because you have the rest of the Straw Hats up on the bridge fighting off the Marines. You have Luffy collapsed on the floor, unable to move, and they cannot escape unless this man gets up. And at this point, you realize, no, Luffy's done. Luffy's done right now. There's no like you know,
he's worn out.
Speech. He's run out. There's no speech from Usopp that can bring him up to speed again. He did what he was supposed to, which was stop this man, Lucci, from going after his friends. And he did that. But now he's done. And from here, what? Like the Navy's closing in on them on the bridge? Or...
Well, the Navy, I think, starts to surround Luffy.
Right.
Because they announced that Luffy beat Rob Lucci. And everyone's shocked. They're like, so they're like, we gotta get him before they escape, because he's really in danger. They're like, uh-oh.
Yes.
And
so it's like that's happening. Go ahead, Dr. Jace.
Oh no, I was literally gonna say, like, you know, the Navy's homing in on them, and then that's when some characters start hearing a voice.
And it's the Frankie family.
It's the Frankie family. Yes.
The Frankie family. They're alive.
They're alive. Yippee. I think Paulie used his slip knot rope thing to save them. Hooray.
Yep.
But even less importantly,
that's the first voices.
This is a secondary plot point. There's a second voice.
There's a second voice.
Well, it's not even a voice. It's like this weird sound.
So how does the anime portray this?
So in the anime, it is like this sound. It's from when I heard it, it sounded like a dolphin type of squeal, but not like a
SpongeBob.
No, not like that. It's just this weird high pitch kind of squeal. But no, not like a dolphin's laugh. It's just this weird thing, and Usopp hears it, and
We're
He's like,
we're missing setup for this moment, for this
What do
big
you-
moment.
I don't know what y'all already
setup.
talked about. I don't know
All
what
right,
you already
hold
talked
on.
about.
I will just say that when the bros start calling, the first one to say, "Whose voice is that?" puts his hand over his ears, says, "Who is it?" is Usopp. I don't know if Usopp's hearing the other voice first in this moment, but it's interesting that Oda chooses to use Usopp as the first one to hear
I feel
voices.
I feel like he's the first one because he was the only one to see the spirit back in Skypiea. So I feel like it's really intentional that he's the first one to hear the voice.
Yeah, no, it's discussed that he is like, that's what he hears. That's what he's hearing in that moment. He's hearing that voice. Yeah, because when he hears it again, he says, "Oh," he's like, "I heard it again. Did you hear that? There it is. I heard it again. That's the noise."
And I think Oda's playing with our emotions, I guess, in this moment, because he's like, "Oh, what was that noise, Usopp?" And it's like, "Oh, it's the Frankie family." Hooray.
And so then,
Yay! Hooray! They're alive. Good.
Yes,
right?
yes, for the Frankie family.
Grandmaster, why aren't you excited?
But it's and then Usopp, I know Usopp there, he's like, "No, that's not," like he clearly is like telling them like, that's not what I'm hearing right now. Like, I'm not hearing anything but this voice. And then when he hears it, and it's just that moment of like, when he knows what it is, he's like, "I heard him." And he looks, and then everybody looks, and it's like, oh my god, just waterfall.
Well, because Zoro is saying, "You idiot," he wants us to. Well, Usopp then he's like, "We need to jump into the sea."
Wait,
Jump!
Whoa, we're missing such important.
Nino, I know Nino.
I'm not missing anything. I know what I'm doing.
No,
Let him build.
You forgot after the Frankie family was confirmed to be alive. Hooray, yippee! Usopp is begging Luffy to get up, and Luffy's like, "I can't."
You already talked about that.
We already covered
No,
that.
wait. No, but he's saying, "I literally can't move." He's like, "But it's nothing. It's for nothing if we don't escape. We need to escape now." And then at that moment, boom, the escape ship that they were going to escape on blows up.
Yes, that's important.
Good
point, Nino.
You should have pointed that out before, after Dr. Jace already said that
because you're rushing us.
No, I'm
building
not
up.
rushing you. Y'all are jumping over the place.
We can jump, but we have to build.
Okay, but you have to build right. You should have said that.
Yeah, you got to build in that time.
Doctor, you should have said that after.
No.
Listen, this was all intentional.
If you arrive at the climactic moment, and you haven't built enough,
I get it.
You jump back and you keep building.
And you build. And not only that, the thing blown up, everyone's taking like, "Oh, where's everybody? And they're going like Kokoro, Sanji, Chopper, everyone's there. And then no bridge. They're trapped. They're surrounded by like 5 Navy ships. And then everyone's just doing that. And then everyone's just like, come on, Straw Hat, please. And the gun's literally on Luffy. And then we get Usopp saying, "What is that noise?"
Why don't you just do the rest? Because
let's
get one more thing.
I was gonna say the exact same thing.
Just do the rest.
Keep going.
Yes, I know it's good. Just go. You have it right in front
Grandmaster,
of
we
you.
have to build.
I understand.
Let him build.
He's got it in front of you. Just do it.
Okay, so he's saying not those voices. There's not the Frankie family. And then it was like, "Look down." And then he looks down. Everyone just kind of was like, what's going on? And then Usopp cries. It's only Usopp. He says, "Jump into the sea." And I'm getting chills just thinking about it. And he's crying, "Into the sea." And then Zoro's like, what are you talking about? And he's like, "We have one more Nakama."
Hold on. Can I just pause here for a second? Can I pause you? I'm so sorry, Nino.
Go.
To also build here. What the fuck is happening? Can we curse on this pod? Like, what's going on?
We've been doing it.
When you're watching this, when you're reading this makes absolutely no sense. Then there's been in your eyes, there's been no setup. Kokoro's right there. They just destroyed the only other ship. Like, is the train gonna come back? What's going on? Like, you know what I mean? Why would they jump into the sea? The devil fruit users can't live. Like, what's in the sea? It's like this crazy, ridiculous moment. Like, what? Like,
all parties are present. There's no one other, there's no Sanji like in the background, there. Like as if like, oh, Sanji's probably cooking up something. Oh, there's the theme song again. But there's no one else. Yeah, right. Everyone's present. Everyone's present.
And then what do you call it? Chopper is one of the ones. Anonymous asked Chopper, did you look down? And he said, crying as well. Yes, we see Robin's hands trying to get Luffy, and they're just rolling him along, towards the sea. And then you just see their faces. They're all screaming into the sea. And the Navy's like, you idiots. And then it's like, haha, they lost their minds. Fire. The very next panel to end that page, to the high seas of adventure. And it's Luffy's Jolly Roger, the Straw Hat Jolly Roger. And we get another almost full page spread of the Mary, and the Mary's talking. I came for you. Luffy's happy. Everyone's crying at this point. Everyone. If you didn't cry at this point, you don't have a heart.
Did you cry, Grandmaster?
Insane. Just
it's beauty.
Craziest. Like, what? What? Are you kidding me?
A huge what the hell moment. Like, a mix of how is this possible? Why is she here? But at the same time, excitement.
Perfect. At the same time, perfect. No notes. Didn't need any more, setup. Didn't need any more kind of like hinting at or anything like that. It's like, it was like both like out of this world, like what the fuck? But it was also like, of course, yes, amazing.
This needed to happen.
The only thing that could show up there did show up there. It was perfect. Right. And it was like, I think it's so hard. I don't even want to call it like a plot twist or anything like that. Like, let's just call it like a moment. I think it's so hard to get moments like this in any storytelling medium, right? And he nailed it. It's just, this is perfect. This saga has been about a lot of stuff. It's been about, Usopp's journey. It's been about Robin coming to grips with like accepting like the crew as like people she can believe in, it's about like Luffy growing as a captain, everybody leveling up. It's been about all this stuff, but like kind of underneath it all has been like, like the merry-go has been about like this ship who's, do they say, I guess they don't say it yet, but they eventually say, like another crew member, you know what I mean? This is about like the other crew member,
right?
The merry-go, the going merry,
it was beauty because, everyone gets thrown onto the merry. They're going to make their escape. You get a small little scene where, Luffy tries to, thank Robin for everything, and she covers his mouth, and you just get this smile from Robin that's so genuine, and it's like, Luffy, you don't need to say anything right now. Like, everyone's actions, including yours, speak enough, and she's grateful. They might die right here and there because they still got the Navy ships around them. I don't know how they're gonna escape, but the fact that they made it this far is commendable on its own. So, and at that point, she thanks everyone.
Oh, so good.
I love it. I love it.
Now, I have a question though, actually, for you.
Go ahead.
Do y'all think that because the ghost of the going merry isn't like the concept never really comes about anymore? Well, it does, but like, it doesn't really set. Do y'all think this was kind of a looking back, I guess, on it like an ass pull of its own?
No way.
I mean, not in a sense of like
the
what
ship
it
being
did.
alive. The ship being alive.
well, the timing of it all, like the ship moving on its own, all that, like, I mean, the whole ethos of it. I mean, if y'all haven't watched it, watch it. I definitely cried way too hard.
Oh, that scene is beautifully done.
Beautiful.
Yeah. I cried so hard. I'm such a crier at like movies, shows, and stuff. But like this one, oh my god, this is one of the moments that like. That's why I say if this arc did not make you say I am a One Piece fan, I just don't know what it is, because it was perfect. But looking back, like being, I guess, technical about it, it does come off as a fairy tale moment. And not the actual anime, but I'm just saying like an actual like impossible like 0.0001 chance of that ever happening to any human being.
It's very much you either believe that Aqua Laguna could have carried the Mary all the way over there on its own, and the opening and closing of the gates could also lead it there as well, or you believe that the Clobber Tom of the Mary truly is a living spirit and said,
I think so.
I can carry y'all just a little bit longer.
I kind of feel like we all just said it. We all just said the moment's so beautiful, we didn't question it. You know what I mean? When that moment happens, we're like, yo, the emotion I'm feeling right now is so overwhelming, I won't question it. You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
You just accept it. And that's just dope.
Fairy tale wish it could.
I was crying watching it, and then just saying like, but where did it come from? Like, because
through the tears, Kame, Chris.
Yes. You know what you are, Chris.
Tears. I'm like when they're like going through the whirlpools, because you know the doors open and it's like creating the whirlpools. I'm like actually crying in this moment, and I'm like, but where did it come from? Like, I'm just wondering.
Chris, you're the equivalent of, you're like, I need an episode of Appa's Lost Days where it shows what happened to Appa. I need Mary's Lost Days after
because
Aqua Lagoon.
Because honestly, they did kind of explain a lot of, you know, what the Mary was going through up until this point. It just kind of like poof, and then I mean they do get to it, but just that in particular moment is not that like piece of the story, the timeline is not explained. So that's why I'm like, damn, like where did, like, come on, like for real, like the Mary being the last thing we see, I love it, but shit, like
love it.
Listen, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this. Usopp said it best. We have one more Nakama, and that literally brings it full circle, because this whole arc started with the fact that they were not paying attention enough to the Mary and her needs.
Amen.
But all the while,
she was taking care of them.
She was taking care of them nonetheless, regardless of whether she had the recognition. She was going to carry them wherever they wanted to go.
GrandMasterHoop. That's right.
And you know, this topic, this idea of this ship never comes up again in One Piece. Ever,
and I'm okay with it.
I think that's what makes it special, because there will only ever be one Mary. There will only ever be one, that relationship. You know what I mean? Like this part of your life only ever comes around once. And if you think of it thematically, storytelling, as Mary being a character and a theme placement for childhood, for innocence. Childhood only ever comes around once, but childhood will always be there to lift you up into what you need to do into adulthood. And we'll get into more of that once the arc wraps up.
Okay, well, let me go grab my tissues.
It's like poetry, it rhymes.
Let me go grab my tissues, because we're crying again.
This is what nobody did watching this scene. Nobody said, wait a second, how did the Going Mary get there? Oh, it did this and this and this and this and this. All right, I accept that. I will now cry. Nobody did that. No, everybody was
not a single one. If you say you did, you're lying. You're lying.
I will guarantee you, all the people that get on Twitter and watch like MCU or DC and always question those movies, when the live action, if the live action ever gets to this point,
no,
they're going to destroy this moment. They're gonna be like, I couldn't cry. The Mary's not a real thing. The Mary's just a ship.
Don't even joke. I don't even want to imagine.
Me to think about.
I don't even want to imagine the live action getting.
Or I can already hear the comparison to like, oh, what is this? This is why I never watched One Piece, because it's just like a Kingdom Hearts or something, trash or mid or something like that. I don't have time for that.
It's just friendship is magic.
Listen, I think it is too far ahead to assume that the live action could even be remotely good or even get this far at the rate Netflix is going at their adaptation cancel rate. But if they do get this far, again,
we'll see.
The groundwork has been laid. Just freaking follow it. Like,
good luck pulling this off. They're getting to Arlong in the first.
No, they might be going past Arlong, but granted, Arlong has been casted.
Arlong's been cast? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, Arlong's cast. There's so many people who have been casted.
I can't wait until this thing comes along and we find out that the Going Merry was a transformer and walked through the ocean to
shut up. They are not that bad. They're not that bad.
The Merry already looks ugly enough in the live action. I hate it. But
move on, because we got one more big moment. I think we
doubling back. They're on the Merry, right? They're sailing away, and Zoro's like, "Can we save this pointless talking until after we escaped?" Good old Zoro, not appreciating the moment, but we love him either way.
Did we mention how Frankie jammed the doors? That way the whirlpools.
It wasn't Frankie.
Oh, it wasn't Frankie.
And then it's not yet. It's coming up. Sorry.
Oh, actually, y'all missed it. Y'all missed the point. Now that you mentioned Sanji, they were in the water and the rope just came out of the boat.
The rope came out of the boat.
Like the rope for him to get onto the ship, it like just came out on its own. So he got on there. He said, "Oh, it was so strange. The Going Merry let out the rope for me to get up, but there was nobody here when I got here." And then they look up, and then it's like, I think the spirit's there.
That might have been in the anime then.
I think that's the anime.
Yeah.
But I mean, either way, they're all flabbergasted at what's going on. I can imagine the anime probably adding that scene in there to just, have Sanji also see the spirit. But they're getting ready to escape, and Spandam gives the order. Kind of lying, he's saying, Admiral Aokiji has given me approval to do this. But open fire. I don't care if Robin's on that ship. Open fire. Do not let them escape. And from there, that's now Grandmaster. Now you can the part with the warships. They're missing all their shots.
Oh, because they're being turned around by the whirlpools because Sanji jammed the doors.
Okay. Doors have closed to bring it full circle.
It's beautiful. They're missing their shots. There's some cannonballs that are actually heading their way. And I like how Zoro and Sanji they're using Luffy as like a makeshift
like a
slingshot. Yeah, to bounce it back. I think it's hurting Luffy because he's not here for it. But with Nami's expertise, they're able to navigate the whirlpools, get out of there, and then I think doesn't Robin break Spandam's back again?
Yeah. She's on
this man is
she's
dead.
On the very edge. She's on the edge of the Merry, and she literally she does man, what does she calls it?
She's clutch.
She said clutch, and it literally just kills him. Literally just. I don't understand. I mean, the grudge, she just bent his back all the way, and then they show her breaking the bones. It's crazy.
You're telling me,
and we get this great Usopp moment. Where they're like, whoa, because Nami has a plan, and the Going Merry goes up, And then everyone's like, whoa, the ship's flying, all the Navy people. And Usopp has this moment where he's like, this is nothing. I'll have you know the Marigold has flown 30,000 feet in the air. And you think that he would be lying in that moment if it was any other arc. But he's telling the truth here. And it's just like, we're growing past everything that we built up before.
It's beautiful. It's the final move that they needed. I think it's Frankie's coup d'event. And they escape.
It is the coup d'event.
Yeah. They escape. Yeah. And I love. Oh, go ahead, comment, Chris.
Oh, I was gonna say, it was the scenes in the anime, the scenes where they're on the ship doing a lot of the cannonballs. I think it's fair to say that Usopp does have some fair moments because he does shoot some cannonballs. I think everybody kind of has their moment in that scene. It's a good. I think it's
everyone's
with exploding stars. Yeah.
I think it's good
too.
Yeah, right. Exactly, and I think it's just good to note that that was that's another moment that the Straw Hats always have too, is when they're leaving. It's always a fight while they run away. It's never a clean, we just
pirates. They're pirates. What can you expect?
What's cool about this one is that it's the final Mary. It's like Mary, like not only did the Mary come and like rescue them when they were jumping into the sea, it's like Mary gets like one last shining moment of escape with the crew, and it's just like a very cool swan song.
It's epic. It caps all the other times that they've made a narrow escape from basically certain death.
It's because the Mary said, I can only carry you a little longer, and so this is the swan song.
This is it. Here we go.
Do you though?
Yes, you do.
Wait. No, but saying, do you know that the next chapter / episode of what's coming?
I don't.
Not necessarily it's going to be the next chapter, but it's like within the next couple episodes of chapters.
You know the Mary's death is coming because they have foreshadowed it, and they pretty much wrote the ticket, and it's now time to cash it in.
But there's a big but. There's a big but here, and this is what I thought when I was first watching it. I was like, oh, they're going to do the anime thing. Yu Yu Hakusho did it when they brought back that old hag at the end of the Dark Tournament.
Wow.
Everyone does it. Every like stereotypical anime does it. They brought back Krillin when he died on.
Right, I forgot Jiraiya came back.
Oh well, you see, I was talking about good anime. No. I was talking about good anime. See.
Oh. Okay.
Oh God.
So I really thought, I was like, okay, they gave the Mary this one last thing. The Mary's gonna stay. They're gonna find a way to fix the Mary. No. And you know what? This chapter ends with we won the fight, and everyone's just having, like, Aokiji admits defeat, and they're having the time of their lives on the Mary. And they're this is the last page.
No, this is definitely crucial because, the Straw Hats, and including, the Frankie family and the two giants, they make their escape on the Puffing Tom. Luffy and the gang make their escape.
Oh, no, they make their escape on the, I think Iceberg came. I thought
Iceberg did came. Yes.
No, I think that both happened. So the
Iceberg came up on a ship.
Yeah, Iceberg brought a whole giant ship.
But that's later though. That's later.
I thought he saved them. Okay.
Yeah, I think the Puffing Tom leaves with them, and then Iceberg. Well, yeah. Are we there?
Not yet. We get because I think this is very important. There's like build up to this scene. Right when Luffy and them make their escape, the Navy still wants to say like, "Yo, it can't end like this. We have to follow them." Aokiji, an admiral, is the one chiming in, and he's saying, "Guys, it's time to stop. It's time to stop. Look at the island. Look at these miracles that this crew is pulling out of their, as Kame Chris would put it, pulling out of their asses, just escaping." And he admits, we as the Navy, as the military, we've lost this fight. Enies Lobby is literally in flames. Look around you. It's over. It's over. We lost. And then we have this scene where the Straw Hats are saying, they're cheering. They won. They escaped. They are all together, and it's beautiful. This is easily their most triumphant battle so far in the story.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it's fantastic. I love it. I love it.
Well, there were so many stakes here versus before.
It was
right.
It was
for the
huge.
crew, personal stakes for the crew.
For sure. Maybe in the series, like personal stakes for the crew.
I feel like it was at their biggest.
Yes, this is as a whole. Yes, because I feel like we get other like personal, like we get probably like more higher peaks for everyone individually.
Yeah,
but we never get them all together again. Like until we're going into the final saga, so
we might get it one more time. We might get it one more time. We need it one more time.
I was gonna say this. The world government had stakes in this. Robin, like they really, and this is the stake that continues on for the rest of the story.
Oh yeah, this could have been a big W for the world government. They could have had Nico Robin. They could have had the Pluton blueprints, and they lost. They fucked it up.
Yeah,
they lost.
And
lost big time. Lost big time, but not before our crew loses somebody.
So first off, there's a little bit of a gag that happens here. I love it. They're on calm waters again, and remember, Usopp has his mask off at this point, and Luffy's asking around saying, "Where did Usopp go? Did anyone know where he went?" Along with Chopper, and he just puts on the mask. Soga King. He's Soga King again. And Sanji's like, "Oh my God, Usopp, he's calling for you, man. Like, come on, it's time to end this." He's like, "No, it's too soon. It's too soon. I can't."
He says, "Don't worry, he went ahead on a small boat."
Yes, and they believe it. They believe it, Kame Chris. They believe it.
and this is I think this is Oda really playing with people's emotions, because this is imagine you pick up the latest chapter after they won, and you don't think about the Mary, and you just turn the page, and the first 2 pages are just them having a laugh on the Mary. It's back to normal, and then they start questioning the voices. You have Iceberg with the rest of Gallilaw coming in on a ship. They're there to bring them back.
The shipwrights return. The people who build ships,
Right. And this scene was brutal. They're cheering. They're saying, "Yep, we got everyone back. We got Mary. We got Robin. We escaped Eddie's lobby." And then boom, it hits. The front half of the just cracks like paper. Like a graham
such
cracker.
An ugly moment.
It's so ugly. It really shows you it's done. Going back to Nino's point, I think this was Oda going back saying, no. This is not a happy ending. I want to be clear on this. This is not the Mary coming back.
But Oda hasn't shown his full hand yet, because it's like,
he has not.
What do you need? Like, I would think if you want to build, fix a ship, is a bunch of carpenters. Luckily, Gallilaw's right there. And Luffy's like, "Hey, do something, Iceberg and crew. Like, fix the ship. And I don't think Iceberg answers yet. I think that's
he lets him go on.
That's when they get the flashback of what really went down.
Oh no, he does answer him back before the flashback.
You're right.
After Luffy's done saying, "Fix her up. She helped us get out of here, get out of the situation," and he responds saying, "Then it's time to let her rest."
Oof.
And then you get that strong flashback that Kame Chris doesn't like. but who cares? It's emotional. You get so what? I think the spirit of the Mary was washed up on the junkyard where the rest of the dismantling ship parts are, and it speaks to Iceberg, right?
Yeah, it's very short. I think Oda tells a really good story, and
it's
only
straight to the point.
A couple.
Yeah, he's fixing the ship, and then he says he was doing working on it, and then the crew out, his crew is asking "Oh, what are you doing?" And he was just "Oh, nothing," kind of thing, and then he walks away, and then the Going Mary says, "Thank you."
I want to sail one more time.
And when you're thinking about this thematically and an analysis, it's so interesting that Iceberg fixes the ship, because not only because he's a shipwright, but because if you look at the Mary as like the innocence and the adventure of childhood, and when you think about what Iceberg has been through, his childhood and his innocence was stolen from him because they killed Tom. Everything changed for him after that. And so he's like literally saying, I want to give this another chance. Like this is me analyzing it and analyzing the symbols. Iceberg is trying to repair and give one last shot to the Straw Hats' last bit of childhood, last bit of innocence. And he does it. And it thanks him. And I think that's so beautiful, that how like even though you've gone through a personal, like Iceberg could have just been like, that's a ship, you know, that it's gone.
Burn it
like,
to the
I'm
ground.
Yeah. But he gives it that last hurrah. He was making it available to have this last hurrah.
You know, I never even thought of this going Mary spirit being a form of them being children. Like it was, because it was very childlike. They're very kids, like they're very much kids. So it does this, the going Mary, going away, and then like where the story goes after makes so much sense to that explanation. So I don't know if you just came up with that, but that you ate that, Nino. I'll say that.
I enjoy it. No, it is their innocence going away. Along with the Mary. Is this the Hooper TV reads part?
We're almost there. I don't know.
We're almost there. Damn, this is a.
I don't know.
This is a what? Okay, I will do a Dr. Jace read. Ain't no way in hell you're skipping this.
If you want to do the flashback after, well, when they're looking back, you know.
Oh no, I was saying about what. Well, I mean, I guess I don't have to do like a read segment, but you know, Iceberg basically comments on the miracle of the Going Mary. He acknowledges that, you know, this ship is a miracle in and of itself. It went way beyond its limits, and he's been a shipwright for decades at this point, and he's never seen anything like it. And he said,
mind you, it's not a pirate ship.
It's not a pirate ship. It's a caravel. It's not. Yet look at what it went through, from Syrup Village all the way to literally any Slavi right now where we're at. It's seen the world and then some. For something that's not meant to go through what it went through, it's seen enough. And at that point, you know, there's no back and forth between Iceberg and Luffy. Luffy, at that point, once Iceberg lays it out, he understands. He gets it. It's time to put the Mary to rest. This is it. They all board the Galula ship. I think Luffy's the one, he's the captain. He has to do this. He's the one that goes up on the dinghy to the ship. Is this the Hooper TV's read part? I don't know.
I want to speak for the Going Mary at the end.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Oh,
okay.
Boy.
Fantastic. This is funny because, you know, Luffy's about to set torch to the ship, and he's like, maybe it's a good thing Usopp isn't here. He couldn't stand this. and you know, Usopp tries to tough it out. He tries to tough it out because Zoro notices it, and he's like, you know, Usopp, you gonna be okay? How about it? And Usopp's like, no, that's not true. We all must part someday. This is a farewell between men. I mustn't shed a single tear. Luffy himself is ready. And at that point, it starts snowing.
Yeah.
For some reason, I mean, you know.
No, it doesn't start snowing until after he lights it.
No. It oh, okay, you're right. Yeah.
No, I also want to say Soge King is speaking in a very low register in the anime, just to put the layer of how kind of funny.
It's a very soft moment. Yeah.
Okay. Like it's not like he's like it's so serious. It's the most serious like voice you'll ever hear Usopp talk, but also kind of funny too because it's like coming from him with the mask on.
And you know he's about to ball his eyes.
Exactly.
Yeah. Usopp talking a big game. We know he's about to destroy.
But you don't know that yet. Like I'm taking Usopp for his word here.
This.
No, I'm taking Usopp for his word here. This is the arc where everyone grows up, and we think they get through. Or
He cried.
It's
He
Usopp,
cried.
baby. I'm sorry.
He cried under the mask though. They showed it like I don't know if it shows in
No,
the
no,
manga,
no.
but
He does. He does.
yeah,
But-
yeah, like
yeah, he
straight tears. Yeah.
Not yet though.
Not
during
yet.
The flashback.
Not yet.
Yeah.
It's the part where Zoro's asking him, "Yo, are you gonna be okay?" And Usopp saying, "I'm gonna tough this out. I'm gonna be here. You know, I'm not gonna cry at all." And we get a quick flashbacks of when they first picked up the Mary. I know the anime did this just perfect.
Yes.
Yeah, they did it
it was
perfect.
Oh yeah, I probably.
Oh,
do.
I have it pulled up right here. I'm looking at it right now.
The
Oh my God.
flashbacks to when they first got it, to when they fired the first cannon on the ship. The few times it got like dinged up and like beaten a little bit, and they had Usopp perform the patchwork on it.
I don't know if the manga does this, so it kind of it zooms in on one of the Straw Hat's eyes and shows a specific moment on the Mary.
Oh, okay.
They're
with
cutting
them.
back between faces and the moments. They're not obviously zooming in on the eyes.
So
But-
like they zoom in on the eyes, it goes to a flashback, then zooms back out on their eyes still, and then the tears start going.
It's beautiful.
Except
It's-
for
I mean,
Zoro.
Except
you know
for
Zoro
wait,
cares.
Yeah.
Wait, no one has cried yet except for Chopper and Nami.
Yeah, yeah.
Nami,
Whoa,
yes.
whoa, we're missing one very catalyst where everyone loses it. Whoa, and I
Whoa.
think this is the part
This
where
is it.
it's Hooper TV reads.
Go ahead.
Are we
Hooper.
finally here? Are we
Oh my
finally
God.
here?
The tension is
So
here.
the
You got
going
the
Mary
floor.
goes, "I'm sorry," and Luffy's like, "Huh? I wanted to carry you even farther. I'm sorry. I wanted to have adventures with you forever, but I." And then Luffy's like, "We're the ones who should say we're sorry, Mary.
Oh.
I'm no
Done.
good at steering, so I ran you into icebergs. And I ripped your sails. And Zolo and I'm reading the manga. And Sanji are stupid, so they broke all kinds of stuff. Usopp would fix you every time, but he stinks. at it.
Waterfalls.
We're the ones who are sorry." And then the Mary's like, "Even so, I was happy. Thank you for caring about me. I was truly happy." And then everybody's just bawling their eyes out, and it's just
And
the Mary's
volume
burning, and it's just it's incredible stuff.
I want you to understand
flame.
that when the Mary speaks in the anime, it is the voice of a child.
Child,
Oh,
I
yeah.
was just about to say
Yeah.
that. It's a very young child. It's like a young
It's like
girl's
high-
voice.
It's very high.
It's-
Yeah.
And it's
Interesting.
it's high, but it's soft. It's very like I know it sounds funny, but
No.
she says it just like this. Like
No.
and every time you get the glimpse of it, like because you only hear it so much, so when you do hear it, it's like, oh my God, this is the last time. No, this is seriously it. And
I feel like that'll probably make it hit more emotionally because, like,
Well, I think the fact that it's a child's voice speaks to here's Luffy apologizing for being a bad parent, and the child says, "I don't care if you were a bad parent. I would have done anything to please you."
Yeah, that dialogue, or just like what the Mary's saying right there, I think it's just like the
lost it.
fact that at the end, the Mary's not immediately like, "Oh, it's been fun, guys. Like, go on without me." The Mary's
See.
like, "I wanted to keep going." Like, damn.
It did not want this to be the end.
No, it didn't, which feels real, but also way more emotional. So,
and then you got and then it's just so sad because I mean really it's like Luffy just like they like zoom out on them on the ship and like Luffy just like having the last like hearing the Going Merry talk and you're just like, oh my God, my life is over. Like I cannot believe the Going Merry is really going away for real.
The Going Merry is going.
it's really gone now.
Yeah, and they really hit home in the anime with the background music. Like when I feel like sometimes in the manga you never know when things are completely solidified, but like this moment, if you couldn't hear just like the just the music that they used, you're like, it's over. I like just can't stop crying. Like been crying since they fell onto the ship and just can't stop. Like it is. Oh my
Music
god. Like,
is just so integral. It really heightens the emotions.
yes.
It is.
I mean, I think as manga readers, like even without the music, you know the Mary's gone. Like,
Oh,
when
I
you
lost it on this.
Yeah, when you're seeing it in
I-
flames, you know, oh, this is it. You know, it's like the
It's
way
done.
Oda does it, like I think really does hit it home even without the music.
It's
No
beautiful.
doubt,
I-
no doubt. I'm just saying, if you haven't experienced this scene through the anime's eyes, I highly
It's
suggest
fantastic.
it. I'm telling you, they nailed the high emotional. scene.
Yes. I don't know. It was just a little more than a cry for me at some point. Like it was like just
was-
sobbing. I'm like,
I know
God.
my
was the
first
ugly
time watching
cry.
it. My first time watching it, yeah, it was. Oh my god! Like killed me.
Like that.
I will say when I really want a good cry, like when I'm like, anyone get those moods where you just want to be like sad and cry,
Yes.
and like just cry and like just nonstop
a healthy
sob.
cry. A healthy
Yes,
cry.
yes. So there's two scenes that I always turn to. When Woody says goodbye at the end of Toy Story 4,
Oh, stop! I'm muting myself.
and then
I
this
can't.
scene.
All the Toy Story moments.
Why are
Out
y'all
of all the
laughing?
medium,
Because I should have guessed that you would have gone there. I should.
No,
I
I
should
feel
have
the
known.
same. No,
I should have
feel the
known
same
that
way.
that's
I
what
feel
you were
the
gonna
same
say.
But look at
Nino.
what those scenes have in common. They're saying goodbye to nostalgia, saying goodbye to childhood bliss.
are you
saying
crying,
goodbye.
Grandmaster?
I am crying from laughter because I should have known better. I should have known better.
I don't see any issue with what I said.
If
There is
somebody,
nothing-
no,
there's
there's
there
no
was
issue.
no issue. There was
But if
no
someone
issue.
asked me, what are the top 10 things Nino Desplazado is emotionally resonates with him, I would. I should have said Toy Story. I feel bad. I feel like a terrible friend.
I'm good.
We this is peak. This is peak.
Just to be clear, in like 4 chapters, I don't know how many episodes it is, but like in 4 chapters, you get the defeat of Lucci. You get the Going Merry returning, or them jumping into the sea. The Going Merry making an escape, and then the Going Merry like funeral. You get it's like
It's about
like,
4 episodes. If it's 4
That's-
chapters,
that sounds about right.
That's so
Those are
crazy.
like peak moments, like, you know, peak moments in the whole series. That kind of like that Oda is like da 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 da, you know, and it doesn't
Imagine
feel
having to
rushed.
wait-
It doesn't feel squeezed. It feels like perfect. It's great.
Imagine having to wait week to week reading this.
Well,
When
you
you're
were so
Imagine-
satisfied.
Yeah,
imagine
imagine.
having to wait week to week to watch it. Like now we
I'm-
could just
I'm-
binge it.
I'm just
Yeah,
thinking
right.
like from the perspective of someone that just was watching it or reading it week to week, they see the Mary come back. They're probably thinking, oh yeah, it's back. Like, you know,
Oh,
happily ever
yeah.
after.
If you
And
had a
then-
week to talk about it with your friends, you're like, dang, I'm so glad that Mary's back.
Bam, out of here, out of here.
How do you like the new One Piece
somebody-
chapter? I don't want
Somebody
to
for a week. Somebody for a week was like, dude, I called it. There's no way they're getting rid of Mary. Yeah, no chance. Like,
She's an integral character. They can't get
integral
rid of her.
character. There's no way they're getting rid of her. Though I told you they're gonna
Idiots.
fix her. Frankie was gonna fix her the whole time.
Yeah, they just needed Frankie. Now Frankie's gonna join the crew. He's totally gonna fix the Mary.
I can
It's a done
guarantee
deal.
if this came out on like a Sunday or a Saturday, I guarantee you that person did not go to school the next day. They were like, nope.
They were
just
emotionally
Well,
distraught.
they did go to school, but back in 2006, weebs and all those types of anime lovers were able to hide their emotions under a cloud of just, you know, antisocial skills. And
Well, I'm not talking about America because unfortunately here weebs are just weird. So number 2, I'm talking about people who read this in Japan. Let's pretend we're in Japan. They probably didn't go to school. They were like, no,
yeah, they
Mom,
probably have like real
I'm
like
sleeping.
fights about it at that time.
Oh,
well,
yeah.
over
keep
there.
in mind, One Piece is gonna make it into those Japanese schools as part of their literature reads very
Good.
soon.
Good.
Very
Can you
soon.
imagine a curriculum? I could have sworn someone here was going to make a
I
curriculum.
did not say a curriculum. Are you
Wait,
crazy?
I was you saying it was
all
you.
all I'm saying is that I've taken a class about a master's level class about the literature capability of comics and manga. All I'm saying is, whoever's here that wants to make a curriculum on it, there is value.
Just
I
saying.
am not trying to make a curriculum. I
We
don't know
weren't
who
even
the-
saying.
You know what
There's.
I said a lesson. I said a lesson.
Either way, I mean, this was the perfect way to close out this volume. Can you see it? Volume 44. That's the last panel you get in volume 44.
Another
Mary-
incredible volume.
The Mary set ablaze, and that's it. It's gone. This is, I mean, the arc's technically still not even done because we still have, you know,
The saga
epilogue.
is not done. We
The
have
saga's
one
not
more
The arc is
in the
done,
saga. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We still have the epilogue, and I still consider it as part of like this whole saga. This is one of the reasons why, like these moments right here, like to me, this is peak. I don't know. It has everything. It had the combat, it had the emotion, it had the stakes, it had the dynamics with the crew that, again, I think Nino's the one that said it. Everyone had some dynamic that was going on that reached its breaking point in this arc. Not to say it doesn't happen again later on in the story for individual characters or maybe even a handful of them, but everyone got a peaking point in this saga. And we're still not done. I feel like the epilogue just solidifies that even more because the epilogue just, it paves the way for like the rest of the story of One Piece. Everything that happens in the epilogue, there are bombshells that are dropped. There are relationships that are revealed.
The world opens up. It's almost like when you grow out of childhood and it's gone.
Wow.
Suddenly the world opens up into adulthood.
That, you know what? Nino's on the money. Nino's on the money.
Come on, choir. Like, wow.
Nino's on the money.
This is a roll.
The truth. This is the truth. We're not gonna talk about it today.
I have so much to digress on that that child thing alone. Like,
you have a week to digest. Any final thoughts on this segment? This is our final bit for part 4, and we're gonna go into part 5 next week. The finale. That is the finale. There's no more breaking up Water 7 into part 6 or 7. Any final thoughts on, you know, the going Mary?
Yeah, I'll say this. I'll say that, and I've probably mentioned this before, maybe on like the big One Piece podcast we did some time ago, a long time ago.
It was last year we did that.
Yeah. And I talked about how I think one of the strongest parts of One Piece is like how Oda rewards you for kind of like following along, like paying attention, you know, like goes hand in hand with One Piece is like its length. It's like, why would I read that? It's so long. It's so many episodes. It's so much. And like my response to that is like always like, well, you're rewarded for continuing with it. Like in terms of like surprises, in terms of like, you know, characters growing, like the arcs and like how the world builds and all these things. And it just feels like there's no saga or handful of arcs that kind of show that more and kind of emphasize that more than Water 7, and kind of culminating in like these Enies Lobby parts, because it is, as we kept saying, it's just like, yo, this moment is fantastic because like, oh, Oda's been building it up for like, you know, since the beginning of this saga. Oh, this moment's fantastic because he's been building this up for like, you know, for Usopp's character, almost the entire story. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's like so many of these moments, like the going Mary, like they're able to show you flashbacks since the beginning of the story because, you know, you found yourself invested in like this ship, you know, not a character, not like a stereotypical character, but a ship. And yeah, you know, I just think when you reach these moments, and that's why many people say that you shouldn't give up on One Piece until you reach the end of the Water 7 saga. Many people say that. And
that's an investment.
You know, reading over 400 chapters. That's very.
It doesn't get good until chapter 400.
No. Remember, all of this is still filler. Now we're getting into the canon stuff. Remember, Now the final saga is all canon and peak. Everything else has been mid, right? That's what Oda said, right?
Mid-piece, as Grandmaster would say it.
You can start at chapter, what is it, 1081 or whatever. Yeah, no, but it's just like, I just feel so rewarded and grateful for the existence of this manga when I reached the end of this saga. Just like wow. It's like almost like it just felt like Oda was giving me gifts. Like, here you go, here you go, here you go. And it's all fantastic. And they keep elevating, culminating in the Mary's funeral. It's just fantastic.
I just feel when it comes down to it, as we continue our One Piece Chronicles, there is no better story than this saga right here. Like,
those are fighting words.
When it really comes down to it,
tell them.
As far as about the central characters, your core crew, and a story that resonates and highlights like not one, not two, but really like 4 Straw Hats, and perfectly balances it throughout while still giving shine to each and every single member. I feel no other arc matches.
I respect that opinion.
Yeah, I just feel the culmination too. The emotional culmination is unmatched.
Unmatched.
Yeah, that's all I got.
Okay, fair enough. I know some of the arcs, some of us may be alluding to that may be in competition with, Water 7 and Enies Lobby as a whole. I don't think they hold a candle to it, but that's still a bit of a ways off. We still got time before we get there. But yeah, this is one of the more emotional moments in One Piece, probably the most up until this point. In my opinion, it is the most, but there's another moment we're going to get into later in the series that a lot of people tend to flock to in terms of emotional peaks for One Piece, a certain character. But we'll save that for much later. Ooh, down. Ooh, thumbs down.
It's good, but I don't know.
The what?
I don't think it matches this.
Interesting.
I think if you're the type of person that is moved emotionally, this is probably the best for you. But if you're a watcher or reader that likes to see a lot of boom boom pow, this is probably not going to be the best. Just to be very technical about it.
Well, okay, and Black Eyed Peas.
Oh goodness!
Yeah.
Wow, that's a great way to describe it.
Yeah, I think that is a great way to describe it.
It's
I don't know. I feel like One Piece really does get better in different ways because I think all the arcs that come after hit really strong highs. I would say even hit the same level of highs, but they hit different highs. This story is so big, this story is so expansive that this, of course, the other arcs won't hit like this does, but they're not supposed to. And I think that's the point.
Because they're not childlike, as this one was. Because they do become a bit mature. Actually, you know what? That's a great point because they definitely get into some adult things. So this one can't be beaten because it's in a very different place in our heart. I guess you can say that as, it being like, very nostalgic or childlike.
Ooh, Zoro said it best. We're not playing pirates.
He didn't say that yet.
No, he did say that.
Yeah, he did. He said it in the beginning.
He said it when when he was arguing with Luffy and the. Actually, wait, no.
No, he didn't say it. No,
he did not.
Oh, so he says it in post. He says it in post.
He says it in post.
Interesting.
Whoa, what could we be talking about? Find out next week.
Find out next week. But
find out what that line is talking about.
Right. Foreshadow.
There you have it, folks. Now you know why we separated Luffy versus Lucci into this week. Goodness, we've been going at this for close to 3 hours already at this point.
Jesus.
It's a deep dive. We dive deep. We don't care how long it takes.
You did it for 2.
Did what for 2?
Anyway.
I don't get it.
Anyways, there you have it, folks. There's our part 4 of Water 7 / Enies Lobby. We got one more part right after this, covering the post segment of the arc, the epilogue, where a lot of bombs are dropped, and we're gonna finally wrap up this saga as a whole. So it's probably gonna be one of our longer ones. 5 parts for one saga is insane, but we had to give each segment the time and the sun that each of them deserve, because there's a lot of things cooking in this kitchen that is Water 7. But that's all we have for today. If you enjoy what we had to say, let us know on all our podcast social media platforms. We're on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at the Yonkō Table. Check us out on there and let us know what you think. Give us a like, give us a share. And yeah, this is Peak One Piece. I don't care what you have to say. But with that, everyone, I'm your Yonkō host, DrJaceAttorney, fellow Yonkō GrandMasterHoop, Supernovas, Kame, Chris, Nino Desplazado, and Admiral HooperTV signing off. And take care.